welcome to the race.
And the lights are out. Great start then.
The Moto2 champion steps into the team that's dominating the championship.
I'm Scott Mitchell from the race. We're here at Barcelona.
Sebastian Vettel is fighting for his career.
There has to be a title assault, and anything less will be a failure.
Oh, and a spin! We lost the GoPro.
Hello and welcome to the race and round 4 of the 2020 Super GT season. It's going to be exciting. It's Twin Ring Motegi. My name's Sam Collins, and as ever, I am joined by Rob Barff. Rob, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sam. So the question is, my friend, can it follow on from round 3? Which I said at the time, was that a classic? I think it was just epic, wasn't it?
Every race in Super GT brings something a little bit unexpected, and I think Motegi is going to be just the same as ever. Normally at this point in the show, we talk about lots of different team news and gossip and intrigue and rumour, but quite frankly, we're all still getting over exactly what went on last time out at Suzuka. And before we take a look at the highlights, Rob, now you've raced Super GT at Suzuka. Is it always completely bonkers?
Yes, and it's always completely bonkers because of the nature of the track. You know, it's just so narrow. The traffic is never ending. From the quicker cars' perspective, you're always catching and passing. And from the GT300s, you're always being passed. And we saw that throughout the race, Sam. You know, having the, what was it, the top 7 in GT300, covered by a couple of seconds at the flag. Bonkers.
It really was. It absolutely was. But while it's, you know, when they look at us and hear us talking about it, let's take a look at actually what went on as we look at the highlights package from round 3 at Suzuka Circuit, the Fujimaki 300 kilometers race. And it was held in at Mie Prefecture as ever. Now, the start was pretty much as you expected. Cars trying to get some temperature into the tyres. Tyre war in Super GT is always lively. But almost as soon as they got to the hairpin on lap 1, GT500, back in the GT300 pack, the action already started as one of the Priuses has stuffed it in the wall. By that point, a Honda's wheel had fallen off, and they were all battling down the straight. The Red Bull Honda there lacking a wheel. Hideki Muto didn't go very deep into the race as well, 9 laps in. And then just up front, everybody, I don't know, it was just like a mass period of red mist drop.
It was. We saw the Hondas right at the front for the first time. There was contact in both GT300 and there as we saw GT500. Some incredible stuff from Ronnie Quintarelli, taking the long way around the hairpin and really being a wily old fox, making some moves on slower cars there. And there, poor Jan Mardenborough, no bodywork, just finger trouble, I believe, in the condo garage.
Yeah, but I mean, it wasn't finger trouble, it was finger and foot trouble from the drivers as they were out up into their hairpin. There was just like what I call car curling into the hairpin quite often. Quite a few cars being fired into the gravel. Quite often it was JP Oliveira in the Nissan there, and he ended up being punted off quite an alarming amount of times towards the end of the race. And every time he tried to put on a great defensive drive, another car put him into the wall. Though sometimes they put each other into the wall, like the Leon Mercedes, who also blocked the track, but we just carried on racing anyway. And as Ronnie Quintarelli and Sugio Matsuda took the victory in the race, the first for Nissan this year, JP Oliveira was still being fired off into the gravel. He was a very grumpy racing driver after the race, and for good reason. But it was a win for Nissan in GT500, and a very emotional one for both classes. Double GTR victory, and not what we expected at all. But that brings us nicely to set us up for Motegi, which really is a very different track, Rob.
It is obviously another one of these kind of historic circuits. About 100 miles north of Tokyo, opened in 1997. Twin ring, because it's not only a road course, it's an oval as well. And unlike somewhere like Rockingham or in the UK or Indianapolis in North America, where you've got a road course inside the oval, the road course kind of runs around the oval and through the oval here. So, yeah, a really interesting track and an interesting time of year to be visiting the circuit as well, Sam.
Yeah, it really is. Normally, this is the last round of the championship. You can't, sometimes a double header, usually a 250-kilometre race with no ballast. This is a mid-season race, round 4, height of the summer. It's hot. It's a tyre-killing race, and it's 50 kilometres longer than normal. It's a 300-kilometre race. Now, the twin ring Motegi, as we heard, it doesn't use the oval at all because that's been damaged and is now out of use. Essentially, it's a glorified car park. Not really glorified, it's just a car park now. The racing is very, very different here. And in qualifying, we saw really unpredictable weather conditions. Now, it's not raining at the track today, but in qualifying, the weather was all over the place. But before that, I had a chat with Ronnie Quintarelli about what was coming up at Motegi this weekend. Ronnie, welcome to the race.
Yeah, it's a big pleasure for me to join you.
Now, this is a circuit that's previously been very, very kind to you. So how are you looking forward to this very different track to the last two we've been at?
Yes, that's right, Sam. So we usually used to have the Motegi round as the last round of the season with no wait for everybody in the car. So this time is very unusual. All the cars will have the ballast on the car according to the result they have achieved so far. Also, the distance, as you said, will be 300 kilometers, not 250. It means that we will have the car heavier with more distance. And as you know, Motegi is very hard for braking. And it will be not easy to manage even the braking in this circuit.
Now, with that extra 50 kilometers and with the changes, that heavy braking, we noticed it was pretty obvious. Everybody noticed that in Suzuka, you clearly found something in the setup of the number 23 Nissan GTR. What did you find, and will you be able to carry that advantage through into the race at Motegi?
I would say that we have been working on the low-speed corners mechanical side on the car setup. In Fuji, we had good balance at high-speed corners, but we were struggling in low speed. In Suzuka, we improved that part. And I would say that our new GTR is more suitable to track layout like Suzuka, where you have many technical corners. We don't know in Motegi. We didn't come to test this season. So everything is for everybody, you know, we come here with the new car. And let's start with, we need to see, you know, from the pre-practice how it will work.
You made some utterly stunning and, well, quite frankly, bonkers overtaking maneuvers in traffic at Suzuka. What was going through your mind? Did the red mist just come down and you just put these moves on, or did you plan each and every one of those maneuvers?
In Suzuka at first, after the start, I was pushing very hard. My target was to try to jump in front of the car of the Honda's number 4 with the down-up tires. But it was closing me, and then I was overtaken by the Zent car at the beginning. But I really wanted to fight back, to get back my position. And in the crazy traffic with the GT300, I tried, you know, when I saw a room, I went for it, and it worked. But, you know, everything was really on the limit. Even from you know, the people from Super GT that they judged my driving, they said I was really on the limit, but it was okay. Also the car, like I felt confident to have that kind of driving, and I think also the fans from outside, they could enjoy a lot those situations.
Well, they absolutely did. Ronnie, thank you very much. Ronnie, I'll let you sign off with a message in Italian for your fans back in Europe.
Ciao a tutti I tifosi che mi state seguendo. Questo è il canale inglese The Race, dove so che seguite tutte le gare. Siamo a Motegi per la quarta gara di campionato Super GT. Dopo la grande vittoria del Suzuka cercheremo di fare del nostro meglio anche su questo circuito. Divertitevi, guardate la gara del Super GT e sempre grazie per il grande tifo. Ciao a tutti, ciao.
Ciao a tutti, arrivederci. Well, a few words in Italian there for Ronnie Quintarelli on a day that's all about Rosso Corsa, Rosso Strada, and a slightly darker shade of red that no one can really remember. But how did the red car really get on around Twin Ring Motegi? Well, the skies were not red, nor were they blue. It was overcast, it was grey, and it was wet in qualifying. Check out what happened. It was really rather unpredictable. Take a look at the highlights from yesterday's qualifying session. As you can see, very overcast, still 25 degrees centigrade, 29 degrees of the track temperature. The GT300s had their first go, and well, as you can see, it was a little bit mixed up, but the run-up sports Tomei sports car in Q2 in the Nissan GTR on pole position, just ahead of the Subaru BRZ. But there were quite a few penalties being thrown around because there were a few caution periods, little yellow flags, and it changed the order a little bit. As you can see, the Hoppy 911 jumped up. It was very close at the end. There, the 360 Sports GTR, though, still duking it out, getting that pole position. There he is, giving 1 digit for 1 position. And very happy with that. In a GT500, though, there was real controversy. In Q1, a few cars have been knocked out due to yellow flag infringements as the little bit of rain started to fall. The Zent Tsurumo car, which bizarrely I had a dream about last night, tells you about what's going on in my head overnight on your average Saturday night in the UK. It was a lot of the Hondas looking very good, but that Zent Tsurumo Supra put car 30 out, topping the pile for the Toyotas. And the Toyotas in general look very strong. But look, they were almost racing in qualifying as the Wedsport, the Bando Sport Wedsport car got knocked off by the Zent Tsurumo. Now, the drivers of that car said that they could be on pole had the rain not come down. But the Hondas also looked particularly strong. Why are there no Nissans in this session? They got knocked out due to the yellow flags coming out just at the wrong time. And that was real disappointment, especially for the Michelin-shod runners in those conditions. But on the starting grid, as you can see, the rain's gone away. Despite the umbrellas there to keep the sunshine off and not the raindrops. And it is looking everything like a grid that's all out of order because of the weather and qualifying. A track at the wrong time of year, it's going to be a little bit fun, isn't it, Rob?
It always is, Sam. It always is. So 2 things from that Ronnie Quintarelli interview. I don't think I've ever seen you in a shirt. That would be number 1. And number 2, the onboard footage from that overtaking maneuver around the outside of the hairpin. Wow, that was fantastic. And hopefully we're going to see more of that just here today at turn 10. Very similar in profile. Yeah, good overtaking opportunities around here today. And as you say, on a track owned by Honda, Sam, we see all 7 GT500 Honda NSXs in the top 7.
Well, it's the Fuji Motegi 300 kilometers race at Tochigi Prefecture in Japan. About an hour or so north of Tokyo. A little bit of a difficult track to get to. It's off in the distance. We'll be having the national anthem very shortly, and it is one of my favourite tracks to visit. Little train ride to get out there, but a very difficult and awkward track for the drivers as well.
Yeah, it's properly rural, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not much out there. I actually remember getting a bit stranded there once on the way home and standing in a very small village, finding a local shop, buying some beers, and then having to wait an hour and a half for a train. But as you can see, the weather is a little bit changeable, but there is Yuji Tachikawa on pole position in number 38, Zent GR Supra. The Keihin NSX second position. Bertie Baguette will be starting that 46 kilos of ballast indicated there. The Tomoki Nojiri in the Yata NSX third position, while Heikiko Velainen starts in 4th in the 39 Denso Kabelco Sard GR Supra. The Modulo NSX GT is in number 64, is in 5th position. 6th is the Raybrig NSX. Makino starts at 52 kilos of ballast. 7th, the Red Bull Mugen Honda. Only 2 kilos of ballast, not been a great season for them. 7th position, hopefully all 4 will stay on. 8th position is the Wedsport Advan GR Supra. 9th, the Waycost 4CR GR Supra. Then the first of Nissans down in 10th. Kohei Hirati starts the Craft Sports car, in number 3 car with 24 kilos of ballast, alongside Ronnie Quintarelli. Number 23, red car in 11 positions. 12th is Hiramina in the blue car, alongside the red. That can sometimes be spicy. 13th, the keeper Tom's GR Supra. Rio Hirakawa starts that. The AU Tom's Supra. Sasha Penestras 14th. Rounding out the field though, Takaboshi starting the realised GTR. Jan Mardenborough will be the second car in that. 2 kilos of ballast. Tells the whole story. That has not been a good season for them so far. Then let's take a look at GT300. There you go, the Tomei Sports 360 GTR. Aoki starts that on pole position. The Hoppy Porsche alongside in second. First of the Priuses, yes, a Toyota Prius, car 31, 15 kilos of ballast. Koki Saga starts that alongside the Subaru BRZ. Yamuchi is starting in 4th position. Good qualifying for the J-Lot Lamborghini. Motogima starts in 5th position. Morio Nitta, former series champion, car 96. The Lexus in 6th. The Aston Martin is in 7th. Fuji starts that. Then the 244 Lexus GT3 in 8th position. And the second of the Lamborghinis, also run by J-Lock, 9th position is the T-Dash Lamborghini. Takahashi starts that. 10th position is the Arta NSX GT3 car. 30 car 35 in 11th. In 12th position, it's the Gainer Tanax GTR alongside the Leon Mercedes in 13th. 14th is the Modulo Kenwood NSX GT. Michigami and Jake Parsons at the wheel of that. Then the Toyota GT86 of the Mack Team Mack in 15th position. 16th is the Up Garage NSX. Then the Syntium LM Corsa Lexus GT3, 17th. 18th position is Hatsune Miku Kataoka starts that car, not Nob Taniguchi. 19th is the Advix Muta MC86 at Sakaguchi starts that. Then the Shokomo Tanaka driven GTR in 20th. 21st is the other of the Gainer Tanax GTRs, and 22nd is the Teddy Bear BMW M6. Yamaguchi starts that. The Saitama Toyota GR Supra GT green car, 23rd position. 24th is the Ava RT Test Type 01 X-Works R8. Kimura starts that car. 25th, the Toyota GR Sports, the other of the Priuses. 26th is the Hitotosuma Audi R8, and 27th is the Arnage Mercedes. 28th is the realised Nissan Automobile Technologies GTR. 29th is the RQ's AMG GT3, rounding out the field disappointingly. And then last in GT300, 30th position, is the Lotus Evora, but it's got 93 kilos of ballast. Not what you expect from a lightweight car from Heffel. Rob.
Wow. There you go, 15 GT500s, 30 GT300s. That is a heck of a grid for our race today here at the Motegi Twin Ring. There you can see, it's a very pleasant afternoon. Quali was mixed up with damp conditions and, yeah, a real mixed up grid. But Sam, looking at that weight handicap and the fuel flow, they're really starting to bite now, aren't they?
It really is, and that's what the sort of action and unpredictable motorsport you expect to see on the race. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We've got so much great action coming up. But don't forget to visit the-race.com, and don't forget the hyphen. You've got all the great action coming up for the world of Formula 1, MotoGP, Formula E, IndyCar, and of course esports, F1 of course, and MotoGP. Big news. Got all the news coming up from the Tuscan Grand Prix at Mugello later today, so keep tuned to that. But right now, it's all about Super GT. So check out and follow at We Are The Race on Twitter and the Instagram and various other social media news and reaction. It's going to be fantastic as we get the national anthem. There's a great solemnity about the Japanese national anthem. I love to hear it. Usually, for me, it tends to mean a great bit of racing to come up. Here's the GT500 series ranking. Sasha Fenestras and Tsuyuki Sekiguchi, 82 kilos of ballast because they are on top of the points table with 41 points. 1 point equals 2 kilos of ballast. Then in a GT300, Hironaka and Yasuda, 100 kilos of ballast on that car, 35 points. They've really got a lot of work to do. But Hironaka and Yasuda in that Gainer Tanax GTR, they're going to have a bit of a fight on their hands. But let's take a look at some of these cars hanging out on the starting grid. There is the Zen Tsurumo GR Supra, new car for this year, powered by a 4-cylinder turbocharged engine. Rob, I think we need to take a look at the Twin Ring Motegi circuit because it is a challenging track as the windscreen wiper on that Supra wants to get going.
Yeah, it's a very interesting circuit, really interesting. From a driver's perspective, it's not fabulous to drive. It's not one of those ones that you think, wow, we're going to Spa or we're going to Suzuka. However, from a spectator's perspective, watching on television, it's going to be terrific. Lots of overtaking opportunities. Very technical. Turns 1 and 2 are kind of linked. There's then a short straight down to turn 3, which is a left-hander. That unwinds into T4. T5, another tight right. That's going to be an overtaking opportunity before they pass underneath the oval into T6 through a 130R. So for the GT500s, that will be taken without a lift of the throttle. For the GT300s, particularly at the start of the race with heavy fuel on board, that's going to be a bit of an issue. Then they come down into turns 7 and 8, which form a big S. Before the car, oh, hang on a moment.
It's Yukihiro Kitagawa, officer from the Autoback 7 Company Limited, the sponsor of it. He's wishing us having a great race and, well, enjoying his lovely, lovely orange jacket. There he is, Autoback's super shop, super Autobacks, super place to go if you're ever in Japan, or indeed the Autoback stores that are around Europe and the rest of the world, sponsors of the Super GT season, along with the Fuji Maki Group who are sponsoring this race. Pressed steel. The Fuji Maki Group. Well, a little bit of hero music, 5 red lights on the starting gantry. The grid is clear, the whistles are being blown, and that can only mean one thing, Rob. It's time for the green flag lap. The engines are fired. Let's go rolling around Twin Ring Motegi. Oh, trouble for the Lotus, though, starting from the pit lane. Well, they're starting at the back of the grid anyway, so they won't be joining in the fun to get going.
Yeah, they had a set of tyres out alongside the car, Sam, which to me, and they were still in the cockpit, the technicians were. So to me, that looks like a problem rather than a planned pit lane start. A planned pit lane start would often see the car located at pit out at this point in the race rather than being worked on.
Absolutely. On the starting grid, you're looking at the GT500 cars. Only one type of car in GT500. They've all got identical carbon fiber monocoque chassis, powered by different engines though. 4-cylinder, 2-litre turbocharged engines from Honda, Nissan and Toyota, kicking out in excess of 650 brake horsepower. Big turbochargers, direct injection, huge performance. Meanwhile, in GT300, there are 3 different types of car. There's FIA GT3 cars. You're used to those. Then you've got the carbon fiber chassied mother chassis cars. They all use the same carbon fiber monocoque. So the Lotus, the GT and the GT86, identical mother chassis monocoque, but different locations for the 4.5 litre V8 engine, which looks very familiar to something you may or may not have seen in the Le Mans 24 Hours. Then you have the JAF GT300s, like the Toyota Supra, the Toyota Prius, and the Subaru BRZ. Those are based on the production car and use some production car parts in the manufacturer, but they're allowed to use any engine from the manufacturer's range, which is why the Prius is powered by a specially tuned V8 engine, 5-litre V8 engine in that car. Then you look at the Subaru BRZ, that's got an evolution of the old World Rally Car flat 4 boxer engine in the front of that BRZ. The engine has to be in the same location as it is in the production car. And of course, the GR Supra, that also has a big honking V8 in it.
I'm still disappointed Mr. Orange Jacket interrupted my track talk.
Well, get on with it then. You've got 4.8 kilometre circuit to talk us around, Rob.
Well, I got through this bit. This is the exit of that lovely turn 6 that I was talking about. That leads into the second sector, turn 7 and 8. Yeah, and then Mr. Orange Jacket cut me off here. Unbelievable, the audacity of the man. And I've been so sort of friendly towards him over the years. Yeah, so as you can see, it's rural. There's lots of changes of gradient. These fast sweeps are turn 7 and 8, which form the S-curve, and then they come downhill into a very, very tight left-hander here at T9, where we see the safety car coming through. That leads on to the first part of the back straight, and the straights here run parallel, so we're going to head uphill towards the hairpin, then back downhill shortly. Interesting to see the GT500 is just working so hard to get temperature in their tyres.
Yeah, they're weaving all over, banging on those brakes, because you weave the car, wang it on the brakes to generate that front tyre temperature. Rear tyre temperature, though, is easy, isn't it, Rob?
Yeah, and of course the temperature in the brakes goes through into the rim, and that heats the carcass of the tyre up. So over the crest in the second straight, now downhill towards turn 11. This is a 90-degree right-hander, and then we cut back under the oval. As you said earlier, the oval no longer used. It was damaged by that earthquake in 2011. And as you said, just a car park now. So coming round now, only 2 corners from home. They're going to turn right here, and then we have a left-right to finish the lap at 12 and 13.
It is a challenge of a circuit. It's one of Jan Mardenborough, the Welsh driver's absolute favourites. He's in GT500, not the best qualifying performance for his team. He will be starting at the back of the GT500 field. But I hope he's going to improve. He's always one to watch in conditions. He'll be the second driver in the realised GTR. His teammate Takaboshi will be starting it. You're going to see 2 starts, though, here at Twin Ring Motegi. You're going to see the GT500 cars, first of all. Then you're going to see the GT300s come to the line. When the lights go green, we will be racing, in which what we are here on the race at Twin Ring Motegi. It's round 4 of Super GT, and a good start by the Zensarumo car, followed by the Honda at the pair of Hondas. And then there's a battle there going on for 4th position. Coming out of the first set of corners, they're all in line, but they're trying to get tyre temperature. That can go a little bit wrong.
Looking on the right-hand side of your screen, folks, in GT300, they're coming round to take the start. The lights go green in the GT300 field, Sam, and the GTR cuts across the front of the hoppy Porsche as they make their way into turn 1, jostling in the pack behind. But it's as they were on the grid as they come through turn 1.
Change of position, big battle going on for 3rd position in GT500. The 2 Hondas are going at it, and that is costing time. The 2 leaders are getting away, but there's a huge battle now going on for 4th. 3 cars into that. The Motorsport NSX is getting up through the field. The Red Bull liveried car, there you see him, chasing now down after the Arta NSX, but the Zensarumo Supra is leading still under great pressure from the Keihin NSX.
GT300s are full wide coming down into turns 3 and 4. So, sorry, beg your pardon, coming down into turn 5 there. And yeah, it's action down the field. We had the Lamborghini doing a spot of off-roading at one point as well. So, yeah, we cut back now to the GT500s coming downhill. And here we see the battle from the pole sitter against the Keihin NSX. The Keihin's been very racy all weekend. It was quickest in warm-up. It was second on the grid. And, yeah, coming through the chicane to complete the first lap, Toyota lead Honda.
Well, Bertrand Baguette in the Honda really he's woken up this morning and come to the circuit with something in mind, and he wants to get victories. Diving out of order is the Red Bull NSX. But Bertie Baguette there really pushing super hard in the Keihin NSX, trying to get up onto terms with Tachikawa. As from the back of the field they're working through is the realised GTR, still trying to find that position, get themselves back into where they're more accustomed to running. But it is close racing here in GT500. Now, they need to get on with it at the front of the field because there are cars looming up behind them. But down here in at GT300, the Toyota Prius has been passed by the Subaru BRZ. We saw that on the first corner. Now they're settled down, which is not going to last as the Aston Martin wants to get into the mix. Then looking back up to the front of the field, there was some action under the bridge, as there always seems to be at Motegi, as the red car and blue car get into a dice, and that's the Raybrick NSX as well, dinging-donging with the Calsonic GTR, and that is a big fight. Now those 2 cars are, oh well, lots of twitching going on there. Is he happy in that Calsonic car, Rob? Hieronymus doesn't seem quite right.
Yeah, he busted a really good move on the Raybrick car, but yeah, there was definitely a little bit of contact, and you saw a reaction from the car. So, yeah, one to keep an eye on there, nose to tail as they come through the hairpin.
There's your winners and losers from the opening lap here at Motegi. Big loser was the Raybrick NSX, losing 4 positions on the opening lap. Well, we'll see the onboard after the race, but that was not a good start for that Honda. There we have a look again. Trying to get down the inside of the Denso Supra. Runs a little bit wide coming out under the bridge. That corner catches everybody out, and that's what we saw just the end of that action in real time. So that's how those 4 positions were lost.
Yeah, very unforgiving exit curb there. And the moment you straddle that curb, it's going to compromise your exit. And of course, the next corner after that is such a fast right-hander that it's almost a straight. So, yeah, you're a sitting duck. And yeah, Sam, you called it. It happened under the bridge, and yeah, he was mugged.
Well, Bertrand Baguette is looking to mug Tachikawa. He's flashing the lights like crazy. The reason for that is he's seen Izawa in the Modulo NSX creeping back onto the back. And we've got a 3-car battle for the lead now around Twin Ring Motegi. You're watching Super GT on the race. We're only 3 laps in, and the action's already fast and frenetic.
If you haven't clicked like or subscribe already, what are you doing? What is not to like about this? This is 3 of the best GT drivers in the world. We have an epically experienced 45-year-old Tachikawa at the front, followed by Bertie Baguette. He's won the Le Mans 24 Hours, you know, coming through the hairpin, our top 3 in GT300, covered by a duvet.
Yeah, and it is a not very big duvet, one of the ones you get in a cheap hotel, perhaps, that you can't get all of your body under at once and you get chilly at night. But the Zensurumo car kicking out brake dust, big carbon fiber brakes on these cars, same regulations as DTM, but certainly a lot more exciting. They're allowed engine development and a little bit of aero development on these cars as well.
Bertrand Baguette really seems to have the pace in the Cahin car. If I could look down at my table of success ballast, Sam, I'd let you know the weights of the car, but I don't want to take my eye off it as Bertrand Baguette gets down the inside. Does he? No, almost.
This is the skills of an old master holding off the young whippersnapper. Everything Baguette is doing, Tachikawa have seen a million times over. Both of those leading cars on Bridgestone tyres, but the car in third is on Dunlops. Works differently as the Mach 5 GT86 takes an alternative route through the countryside. How's he manage this? Just loops it round.
Ginormous spin, and he keeps it running through the gravel trap, which is difficult to do. He's on the grass that will still be wet from the rain of yesterday, and yeah, he's lucky to continue there, Sam.
Baguette still trying to find a way past Tachikawa and still failing to succeed. Izawa's dropped back a little bit, and there's that Mach 5 car limping home just in front of the race leaders. Let's hope he doesn't get involved in the battle, or perhaps let's hope he does.
Oh, hazard warning lights on there, and if they'd have caught him half a second earlier, that could have been critical. But it's interesting to see the Cahin NSX, the blue car in P2 there, Sam, seems to have a real advantage with mid-corner speed. But look on the straights, the Toyota just has enough aero to stretch away. When we heard from Heikki Kovalainen at the start of the Suzuka race, he said the car had very, very good drag, so very low drag, and a really good engine this year. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that battle evolves as we cut to the twin screen and look at GT300s on the right. There's still a rolling roadblock there as they come through T6.
Yeah, that's the battle for second. That's second position there.
Second through to about 18th, I think, is still nose to tail.
That's usually the way. Just watching Izawa, he dropped back on those Dunlop tyres, and I think he was doing that deliberately to keep his tyre temperatures under control. It's a tyre war series in Super GT, so you have a choice of different tyre manufacturers to go on. And in the top runners in the GT500, we've got Bridgestone, Dunlop, and Yokohama. The first of the Michelin runners, Warren Quintarelli, is down in 8th at the moment, but watch him coming through the field. Similar story in GT300 as well. Up front there, you've got a real mix of tyres. The first 2 cars are on Yokohamas. Then the R&D Sports Subaru is on Dunlops. Then Kokisaga and the Toyota is on Bridgestones. Morio Nitta in that K-Tunes. Lex is just getting on the back of the pack there. He's on Dunlops, followed by J-Lock on the Yokohamas. Then the Pacific D-Station Racing Aston Martin is on Michelin tyres as well. So it's a tyre war, and it's an on-track car war as well.
Baguette's flash button is taking a pounding on his steering wheel, really keeping our race leader under pressure. But he just doesn't have the straight line speed, Sam. But here we see there on the left-hand side of the screen, the first appearance of traffic. That's the little Cintium Lotus carrying, what was it, about 800 kilos of success ballast. He's at the tail of the GT300 lead, sorry, GT300 pack. So now as the GT500 leaders come through, they're going to have their work cut out to get safely through the field whilst maintaining this race pace.
Now, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're enjoying this action from Motegi. We can see your questions coming in. There's a bit much action going on track, but we'll try and answer the questions that you're firing in between the different classes. Prakar Singh asked, what's the high speed of these cars? Well, if at Fuji Speedway, fastest track for this season at least, you will see in excess of 310 kph on the straight. You won't see speeds like that here at Twin Ring Motegi due to the circuit layout, but these are very, very fast racing cars indeed. Quicker than the Audi R18s of sort of 2014, 2015 vintage LMP1 pace cars here, and they're clearly on pace with LMP2s. Now the traffic is becoming a factor for the GT500 leaders, and that Mercedes nearly got into a tangle with the Zent Tsurumo Supra as Bertie Baguette is still flashing those lights. Rob, does flashing the headlights make any difference to these professional racing drivers?
No, Tachikawa, he's a wily old fox. It's probably spurring him on just to back him up through the corners and then use the power of the Toyota to just draw ahead down the straights. But traffic is going to be the deciding factor in this battle. And from Bertie Baguette's perspective, if Tachikawa guesses right, Baguette's going to go left if there is a 50-50, just to stack the possible overtaking opportunities in his favour.
It was interesting to see how Tachikawa was positioning his car on the straight there, just drifting slightly offline, slightly to the middle of the road, just to put Baguette off having any opportunistic moves up the right-hand side there. But this traffic now, GT300 traffic is going to become an issue for these guys. They're just at the back end of the big GT300 pack, but when they get into it with the two race leaders this close, you're going to see some real fireworks.
Baguette still on that flash button, still putting Tachikawa under pressure. Lots of brake dust, as you pointed out earlier, Sam, from the Zent car there. Really huge amounts of carbon dust coming off the brakes as he brakes hard at turn 3.
As the yellow Prius jumps out of line, doesn't cause a problem. Lots more brake, you're right, you know, there's more brake dust from that Zent Tsurumo Supra than we're seeing from any other car. Let's hope that's not a problem, but brake problems are not unheard of, but they're pretty unusual at the moment in GT500. Every team running pretty much the same brake setup.
So Toyota, P1, Honda, P2. Here is that no, I was just thinking, is that one of those 50-50 opportunities that the Honda there could capitalize on? But just making the point, Honda leads, sorry, beg your pardon, Toyota leads with Honda P2, 3, 4 and 5.
Yeah, Ronnie Quintarelli's moved up 3 positions since the start in the first of the Nissans. There's still a long way to go. He's down in 8th and about 8 seconds off the lead. So he's lost a bit of time in the traffic, but he's working on. There is the battle for the lead. The battle for 3rd position is a little bit quiet. Big clouds of brake dust, as ever, now coming off that Zent car. But look at the pack of GT300 cars just in front of them. That will be where Bertrand Baguette, if he's thinking about this right, will try and get the advantage. Last of those cars, the green car, the GR Supra. That's not going to make life difficult for the Zent car. Might make life a little bit more difficult for the Honda. But look, here comes the big pack now of GT300. This is where big time can be made and lost, as Ronnie Quintarelli showed us in Suzuka.
So all eyes as they come down to the pack into turn 3. We cut back there to turn 1. The two blue cars still nose to tail, as they were, with the Calsonic car leading the Ray Brigg car.
Now, if you're enjoying this action, don't forget there's lots more. All the reaction from the Tuscan Grand Prix coming up later today, and next weekend live right here, British GT, round 6 from Donington Park. But right now, stay tuned for Super GT from Motegi as the race leaders work their way through the traffic. 8 laps in, you're going to see a lot of this through the race, and Bertrand Baguette is still desperately trying to get past Yuji Tachikawa. Toyota versus Honda for the lead in Mobility Land.
4.8 kilometers, Sam, so just under 3 miles, 45 cars on it. You know, they've each all got about 100 meters of circuit there, and it's, oh, look at the pack as they come down here towards the hairpin.
Trying to go round the outside there, Bertrand Baguette. They got held up by Hatsune Miku. They're side by side.
Oh.
They touch. Baguette takes the lead. They're trying to muscle each other 4 wide down the backstretch. Baguette's got the lead. He gets past in the traffic, but will Tachikawa stand for it? He's trying to go up the inside. There's no space. Tries to go round the outside. Under the bridge now. There's a big curb there. He's not going to make that work, but is he going to try and get up into the left-hand side? No, the opportunity isn't there, but there's still a lot more GT300 traffic to come.
Was there contact, Sam? Was that morally hazardous? But a brilliant opportunistic move from Baguette, and so aggressive through the traffic. I think you said they were 4 wide. I looked up and I think they were about 6 wide there at one point.
I don't think it was morally hazardous. I think it was just good racing. Super GT has driver penalty points, but they don't call them driver penalty points. They call them moral hazard points, so they can be applied for anything that's morally hazardous. Well, no moral hazards at the front end of the GT300 pack at the moment. Just great racing. But look here as the GT500 field works its way through that GT300 mid-pack. Ronnie Quintarelli there now on the back of the blue car, which has got past the red car. You talk about the red car and blue car with the Nissans. There is real needle between those two teams. The Works Nissan and the Team Impel blue car. And there's lots of other changes of position as the Raybrigg NSX drops back with one of the Supras. And it's moving around very oddly there, Rob.
It is. Cars all over the place, Sam, as they come down towards the fast left-hander, coming towards the S-curve. Yeah, wow. Action through the pack. If you're new to us here on The-Race and Super GT, where have you been? The faster GT 500 cars, they have the white headlights as a general rule of thumb. We see the slower GT 300s there pictured on your right, the little 86, they have yellow headlights. So just watch for the white headlights cutting through the pack. But look at the traffic coming onto the back straight. It's literally nose to tail with the quicker GT 500s trying to pick their way through whilst racing nose to tail.
And that is, of course, a battle between Tadasuke Makino and the Team Kunomitsu Team Raybrigg car that Jensen Button vacated, and Kazuo Oshima in the Wacos Team Rookie. They both fight against each other a lot in Super Formula, also here on the race, but there's also fights at the front of the field. The race leader, Bertrand Baguette, now has found the battle for second in GT300. These guys are going to be a lot harder to pass as the Prius pulls out to get a move on the Subaru. Baguette tries to get a move on both, and look at the speed differential between those GT500 and GT300 cars, and that's gone really well for Baguette. He's put those 3 GT300 cars between him and the Zensurumo Supra. Then they're going to get a little bit of calm and relax at the front of the GT500 pack. As I don't think the Subaru saw the Zensurumo car coming through and nearly turned in on him. The camera didn't follow it as the Modulo NSX is dropping right back through the field now. And that has opened up the opportunity for the Arta NSX to get back at him. But keep an eye on the Wedsport Bando Supra. That's getting into the fight there for third, fourth, and fifth position.
Oh, my word, yeah. As you say, the little GT86 hadn't seen the Zensurumo car as they came down into turn 3. I was hanging on to the arms of my chair here in my office and watching that. Oh, a huge contact in the GT500 into the side of the Lamborghini.
Yeah, that's going to cause a safety car for sure. That definitely was morally hazard. I didn't see how the Lamborghini lost control, but I saw that accident coming a mile off. And that is going to be a very disappointing end to the race for the Wedsport team. Bando Supra, total bystander in that one. There is the safety car, confirmed. Well, they're just telling me to do some commentary. Well, that has been 10 laps of Super GT racing here on the race. Now, Rob, it looks like the Lambo just lost it coming out. Oh, was he encouraged by the Arta?
Yeah. Did he drop it or was he pushed? So he was pushed wide by the Arta car, slightly offline.
Oh, no.
And yeah, he came back across. He's managed to take... could have been...
Well, that Lamborghini managed to sideswipe the Arta NSX, lose control, and take out the Wedsport Bando car. The race officials are going to take an extraordinarily dim view of that. Oh, so dear.
As you can see, the driver getting out of the left-hand side of the Lamborghini. As they came out of the previous corner, obviously, which was a right-hander, the NSX would have been in his blind spot initially. He was then up alongside before there was the initial contact. But yeah, that was a huge hit. Great to see both drivers walking away.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be damage on the R2 NSX in GT500 as well. That was a pretty heavy side swipe from the Lamborghini as well. That was pretty bad driving, quite frankly. Let's see that again.
Yeah, let's watch again. So the Lamborghini comes out, runs a little wide. The Honda is in his blind spot completely. He hits him and touches, spins the left, gets on that wet grass that we were talking about earlier, misses the Modulo NSX, and then kaboom, he harpoons the front of the wet sport car.
Yeah, and I think that's caused the left rear puncture on the R2 NSX. The pits are closed. The car will be able to come in and fix that damage, but they will pick up a penalty. So that Lamborghini has ruined the race for two GT300 cars, and of course has ruined quite a lot of the left rear end of that Lamborghini. Huge amount of repair to go on to the J-Lock team when they get that back to base, and I think they might be having words with their driver on that one. And an enormous amount of repair to be done on the Wedsport Bando car. Fortunately, a little bit of a gap till the next race, but they're going to have to work pretty hard to get that car ready. Well, if you've been enjoying this first 10 laps on the race, round 4 of Super GT is planning out very much like every other round of Super GT. So we've got some questions coming in. Panda says, do the cars use the original motors? No, they don't. These are in GT500. It's purpose-built racing engines. These 2-litre 4-cylinder engines are built. And there's been another shunt. I don't know how this has happened. Rob?
Yeah, I do. This is going to be that concertina effect under the safety car. Cars are going to be slowing, and the concertina effect, the pack, and you see the BMW M6 there. Huge damage. He's not going to be able to continue. And look at the carbon fiber shards and debris on circuit.
Well, that's definitely morally hazardous. One of the golden rules of racing is don't hit the one that's painted the same color as you. One of the other golden rules of racing is don't crash under the safety car. And well, there you go. That is huge damage. His race is done as well. The right front wheel suspension is destroyed. But who did he destroy it against? We saw one of the GT300 Mercedes going slow, but was that going slow to avoid, or was that because the team studied BMW had piled into the back of him? Hopefully we can find a replay of that. Yes, we can.
Yeah, so he literally ran into the back of the pack, which were almost, well, they were stationary, look.
But what they stopped for, Robert? That's not entirely sure why the GT300 field had completely come to a standstill there, but the BMW driver didn't expect it and piled into the back of them. That was Yamaguchi.
Yeah, and they are approaching where they were clearing the debris from. So as the pack begins to slow, you get that concertina effect like you do on the highway, like you do on the motorway. And yeah, it's just caught that BMW out. And using the little snatch vehicle, I don't know if they'll be able to pull it. And yeah, as you rightly predicted, Sam, your crystal ball still working perfectly there in Hertfordshire. Big damage on the back of the Mercedes. Yeah, suspension damage as well, not just a puncture. That's got suspension damage.
Actually, he hasn't got a puncture, but he hasn't got a wheel attached either fully. So I think that's the end of the day for the 22 RQ's Mercedes. He might as well pull up and park that, but he's going to drive back to the pits and delay everything for everybody else and leave debris everywhere. So because the marshals are far too bored. But look at the damage on the Red Sport Bando Lexus GR Supra. I mean, it's unrecognizable, that front end. Somewhere in there is one of those 2-litre turbo engines, which I was talking about before we were so rudely and then capitalized on it in traffic, but he did not get it easily.
No, you're right, Sam. That was a great move. It wasn't morally hazardous. It was just a really good opportunistic move.
This, though, was morally hazardous from the Lamborghini, and managing to ruin 2 GT500 cars race and his own. And then, by association, ruining the race of a BMW who wasn't looking where he was going, probably following the car in front far too closely, which is what happens on a regular basis on pretty much every motorway in the world. Well, if you haven't seen a safety car in Super GT before, this is completely normal behaviour. They bring the cars to the stop on start-finish straight to get the GT500 cars in order, as you can see, and then put the GT300 cars in order. So none of this lucky dog or lap down issue. It means when the track goes back to green, everybody is in the right order. 13 laps into the race, I'm not sure anyone is going to come to pit road, apart from perhaps this car. I was pretty convinced he had a puncture. Pretty heavy hit from that errant Lamborghini, but the tyre does still seem to be inflated.
Yeah, strong car then, the NSX. Just looking down my weight handicap list, Sam, the Honda, the Raybrig car, which is the sort of last of our Hondas, carrying 52 kilos of ballast, and the Cahin car at the front, very, very little ballast, sort of makes me wonder whether they're going to be sensitive to weight handicap over the course of the season, but I'm not so sure. And here we see the beast from Affalterbach being pushed back in. That was the car that got hit by the BMW and yeah, being pushed back on the little dolly wheels.
Yeah, that beast got bitten. Questions coming in here on the-race.com. Don't forget, we're watching you on the chat on YouTube. Don't forget, hit us up on social media at We Are The Race. Don Chuhati asks, just a question, why don't every single team race GT500? It's actually quite a good question. GT500 cars are works cars, essentially. They are manufacturer built, run by manufacturer backed teams in general. Hugely expensive to operate. They're full-on proper race cars. GT300 was a class created for small tuning companies, so they could develop their own car. So R&D Sports with the Subaru, for example, great example. Though even though that is actually a works-back car, APR, who built the Prius and the GR Supra, those guys, and the GT300 GR Supra, those guys are small privateer racing teams developing cars so they can use their engineering talent to create a really quite competitive racing car. But for those who don't have the engineering talents to develop their own cars, they can also just go out and buy a GT3 car if they must, which quite a lot of teams seem to do. The mother chassis concept was introduced to make it somewhat easier for those privateer teams to develop a car if they didn't have all that chassis engineering ability or an engine ability to do it. They can just buy a mother chassis package and build a car around it. That's the mother chassis rules are the rules that DTM clearly should be adopting, but obviously haven't thought of yet. Or Gerhard Berger just doesn't want to admit that he's got it wrong and that wants to go for some sort of weird GT300 plus. Very clearly should be just going for straight up GT300.
Look, Sam, it works. Look at what we're watching at as a GT championship in terms of a two-class series. This just works. There's something you don't see every day.
A reversing street sweeper on a racetrack during a race, obviously. But hey, it's Twin Ring Motegi #1, so it's branded. So yeah, well there you go. There's the remains of the BMW behind it, you know, sweeping up the clearance of the Bavarian beast. On the questions, we've got Thomas Engraf says, how was the Motegi Oval damaged? It was damaged in an earthquake, very sadly. The same one that caused great damage across Japan and gave the nation a great struggle to recover. And some of the towns in those areas are still fighting to recover from that damage. Not far from this coast where Motegi is located. So stay strong, Japan. But great to see. The first ever race on the Motegi circuit was a JGTC, the forerunner of Super GT, which was held on the oval with artificial chicanes. So if you look on the Super GT official YouTube channel, there's highlights of that race on there. But for now, stay tuned on the race. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this action. We will bring you lots more action throughout the year and throughout the day, with all the latest action coming from the Tuscan Grand Prix later on the race. All the reaction from Ed Straw, Mark Hughes, the rest of the journalistic team there. I spent a lot of time talking to Mark Hughes anyway, and I know he's got some very interesting comments about one of the pink cars in Formula One. But the pit stop sequence has started, the pits have opened, and on lap 14, some of the GT300 fields rolling the dice to make an early stop for fuel and tyres. Bit of a strategy risk, this, I think.
Yeah, it is a risky strategy, but they're carrying 75 kilos of ballast is the GR Supra GT, the green car that came in. We see the Gainer GTR and the Realized GTR, so making their stop, getting away cleanly. The Realized car losing a little bit of time. That's the car of JP Oliveira, who was so rudely fired into the gravel at Suzuka. Look at the Tanex guys, done a great job in the pits there.
Something that's a little bit interesting there, I'm not sure. I was just watching the realised GTR pit stop, and I swear I saw JP Oliveira still standing in the garage without his helmet on. So it looks like they might be going for a two-stop strategy. I may have got that wrong. I'm looking at the transponder codes for that team to see if they did make a driver change and they've just got a JP Oliveira look-alike in the back of the garage. But I do think they didn't swap their drivers out.
Can't help you there, mate. I was looking at how many tyres they were changing, and no, I didn't see a driver change myself go on.
Nor did I. So they are going for a two-stop strategy, which is unusual.
Expecting particularly high tyre wear, maybe? Anyway, here we go. Lights are out on the safety car. The Supra is going to make his way back to the pits. He's broken away from the pack. And Bertrand Baguette will now back the cars up as they come through turn 10 here at the hairpin. He'll let the safety car get away, and then at some point now, he will make his break, and then the race will restart next time across.
Well, we've had 14 laps of action. It feels like a whole season in some other championships because there's been so much going on. Super GT is great, isn't it?
It's going to be... As I said a moment ago, Sam, it just works. And here we have Baguette. Yeah, he's just made his break coming down into turn. Oh, cheeky lock up there. Wasn't too bad, though. Just shows you how much tyre temperature they lose under a safety car.
He's still about 14 laps from the ideal pit window for these GT500 cars. But Bertrand Baguette, clear track, trying to open up a little bit of a gap to Yuji Tachikawa, Takuya Izawa in third, Hideki Muto in fourth in the team Red Bull car. Tomochi Nojiri in the Arta NSX is already coming under pressure. There is great battling going on down the rest of the field. Team Impel up to 7th position. Ronnie Quintarelli chasing the blue car down. That can always get good. There you can see it with Heikki Kovalainen in 6th position. The Team Start car. And there in GT300 on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see the Subaru BRZ bolt the back of the Hoppy Porsche, trying to get up to 2nd position.
So GT300, the run-up GTR, which had started from pole and pulled a decent lead. He's made a good restart from the Hoppy Porsche. He's under a lot of pressure there from, I just can't see, I think it's one of the little GT86.
There's a hell of a battle going on further down the field in the GT500 field. There it is. Heikki Kovalainen getting a little kiss from the Calsonic Team Impel GTR, being chased aggressively as well by the Motul Ortec GTR. Ronnie Quintarelli at the wheel of that. We've seen what he's like in traffic, and we're getting the red car versus the blue car versus Heikki Kovalainen in the red and white car. Two GTRs and the Toyota, and there is a Honda, the Raybrig NSX, coming to join that party as well. These guys all know what they're doing, but there is that real needle between the Motul Ortec team and Team Impel. That goes back right back to the JGTC days. There is a huge rivalry there.
Look at this, the Heikki Kovalainen under pressure there from the blue car, the Calsonic car, and he makes the move coming down to complete the lap underneath the oval there, coming through turn 12. So Hiramina moves up a place.
It looks to me like Heikki Kovalainen is struggling to get his Bridgestones up to temperature, while Ronnie Quintarelli, coming on those Michelin tyres in the red Nissan, he's about to have a move, but the TV director's noticed the fight in GT300 is getting spicy. Kimi Asato in the Hoppy 911 holding off Yamuchi in the Subaru BRZ, both chasing down the Tomei Sports 360 run-up GTR, and then behind them the first of the Toyota Priuses. Prius, maybe.
One Prius, many Prius. One Prius, many Prius. Not sure. Anyway, Hoppy, Porsche. Yeah, it's certainly struggling mid-corner there against the lighter, more nimble BRZ.
When's the first Super Formula race? Somebody asked. I didn't see who it was. A couple of weeks' time. Stay tuned here on The Race. Hit like and subscribe, and we'll be talking about all of that for more Japanese race action. But there's still plenty of action this week. Right now, are you not entertained? Because I am.
Yeah, click like, click subscribe, as we see Heikki Kovalainen is still working hard to see Ronnie Quintarelli at bay. It was coming here through the S-curve where he just seemed to be lacking a bit of mid-corner speed. The Toyota certainly has the legs down the straights, but yeah, he was just lacking a bit of maybe mechanical grip or grip from the tyres, as you predicted, Sam, the previous lap. But Bertrand Baguette, good restart, and he leads by, he said, look at the timing screen, almost 3 seconds now.
Yeah, fantastic restart. That clear track clearly working for the K-In NSX, getting a nice, healthy opening back to Tachikawa, who himself has got a little bit of a gap back to Takuya Izawa, and that enormous scrap that's going on from third place backwards. There you can see it on your screen. Izawa there in the red, white and black modulo. Run car ahead with the Red Bull NSX, the Ata NSX. There is the Calsonic car now breaking away from the front Heikki Kovalainen, followed by the Motor car. Down the back of the GT500 field, still struggling to get themselves into the race really, is the Realize NSX, backing out in 15th place in that category. Well, not even 15th anymore because we've lost one car. The Wed Sport Bando Lexus is in pieces at the side of the track. Not in pieces though is Aoki in the 360 run-up GTR, opening a gap again at the front GT300 pack. As we look down through the order, the great variety that you find in the GT300 category in a Super GT. All sorts of GT3 cars, some European, a lot of Japanese ones, plus those mother chassis cars. There's the second of the Prius cars. There's the Lotus, who's a lap down, I think, scrapping with the GR Supra, who had that great result in the opening race. And there is the Realize GTR that may or may not be on a two-stop strategy, which to me makes absolutely zero sense. But I still wonder, was there an incident we didn't see on camera which brought all of the GT300 cars to a premature stop? Takuta Iguchi.
Possibly, Sam, possibly. If they could have had slow punctures from carbon debris. All the GT3 cars, GT300 cars, will be running tyre pressure monitoring systems. And if they picked up a slow puncture, which you often get from a shard of carbon fibre, they'd gamble and, you know, knowing that there's going to be another safety car, just start from the back of the pack. But the run-up GTR there making its way as we look at two cars that we'd seen at the front of the GT300 field earlier in the year, really struggling with success ballast. The Lotus carrying in second position there 93 kilos, and the Toyota ahead of it 75.
Yeah, so I think that's exactly what happened. So a bunch of these cars would have picked up. We've seen the debris as we're seeing the Realize GTR and GT500 finally trying to get on terms with the AU Tom's car. Sasha Fenestraz holding off Takaboshi. Fenestraz is still struggling a little bit in this race as well. Drops to last in the GT500 field. I think exactly that's what's happened in GT300 there, Rob. We didn't see it, but a chunk of the GT300 cars came to a stop to avoid the debris on track from that Lamborghini versus Supra accident, and the BMW missed that. Some of those cars picked up punctures, came to the pits, but the reason for that is the Lotus, we know, started from the pit lane and had a very bad opening to the race, and the GR Supra, the green car, had a good start to the race, and they're now racing for position. That wasn't a lap down, so they must have come in for additional pit stops after picking up punctures. So that's really ruined a bunch of races in the GT300. There, though, is the gap being opened up by Bertrand Piquet over Yuki Tachikawa in second position.
Yeah, he's got great pace in clean air, really good pace, just stretching the gap by about 8 tenths, 9 tenths a lap there. As we look back to, it's another rolling roadblock in GT300. No, it's not, it's GT500, isn't it? Wow, so yeah, the three Hondas nose to tail before the first of the GTRs. And yeah, a change of place there. The Red Bull car moves up against the Modulo car.
Yeah, Hideki Muto making a great move up the inside, but also trying to take advantage is the Calsonic GTR diving up the Ata, inside the Ata NSX. Heikki Kovalainen there in the Saad Supra, also trying to get in on the action. Ronnie Quintarelli as well, watching brief. That suggests to me that Modulo NSX, the car 64, is really losing time. Look, it's like Jarno Trulli's driving or something.
Yep, he's the driver of the train with all the carriages lined up behind. And yep, certainly the driver's behind, keen to make a move. Dive down the inside goes the Calsonic car. And yeah, he's going to get railroaded if he's not careful. They're all going to just run by him.
Yeah, not sure what the issue is there with that white, black and red Honda, but Heikki Kovalainen is the next man in line. But is the Honda going to try and fight back at the Nissan? I don't think it's got the pace, and Heikki Kovalainen is going to be the next man in order to take that manoeuvre. But look at Ronnie Quintarelli trying to get a move on the Ata NSX at the same time, and on top of that, the Raybrig NSX also trying to get a move on Ronnie Quintarelli in the Motorsport GTR.
Wow. yes, certainly the Honda we're looking at there is struggling. There's nothing obviously missing from the car in terms of an aerodynamic appendage, but yeah, he's already going defensive as they come down to the end of the back straight. He's hard on the right-hand side, and Kovalainen's going to have to go the long way round. Can he? He's looking to. No, he ducks back in.
Yeah, but that's going to compromise him for the next section and give the Arthur NSX an opportunity. And because it Constantina's up the field, it is going to expose Ronnie Quintarelli to attack from behind from, well, a whole bunch of cars.
If you haven't clicked like or subscribe, go on, hit the button. Look at this.
And it is no surprise that Jenson Button wanted to come and play in this series for a couple of years. Look at the clouds, though. The forecast doesn't say rain, but that is looking a little bit angry, that sky.
Yeah, and the television cameras always make the situation look lighter than it actually is. Still a few shadows from the car, so maybe the sun coming and going, but yeah, the weather forecast, yeah, fairly overcast, 23 degrees. The Modulo car really struggling. Again, I'm looking to see if there's anything obviously wrong, but no, Kovalainen still making himself loom large in the mirrors. Coming through that very, very fast right-hander at turn 6, then up through the S-curve where we saw the little shunt in the safety car train. And then coming down to turn 9, a great overtaking opportunity. Again, Kovalainen looks to the inside. Coming up now to turn 10. Is he going to look up the inside? No, not close enough here, Sam.
Yeah, and just had the weather forecast sent over. 40% chance of rain at the moment, and that's significantly increased from the start of the race, where it was basically 0% chance of the race, rain in the race here. And there's your lap times. The Kahin NSX.
Again, just watching the that battle as the Modulo car. Oh, yeah, he's again had to go defensive very early as they cross the start-finish line. All lined up behind. So this is P5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, all nose to tail, Sam.
Yeah, and it's these are all professional racing drivers. Many of them are familiar names from the world of Le Mans 24 Hours, Formula 2, Formula 1, and just about every other racing series that you can name. And they're all thinking about when to have that opportunity to make that move to get up to the front of the pack. But look at that. Heikki Kovalainen just behind the Modulo NSX. All of these cars wanted to get by. I don't know what the Modulo NSX's issue is, but it's slow and it is holding up the entire field. Look at these guys who've managed to escape and get past. Look at the gap they're opening up to that white, black and red Honda. There they are. So
yeah, sorry, Sam, they are 2 seconds a lap faster once they've cleared the Modulo car.
And he is clearly pushing. You saw the driver of the Modulo car get a wheel. That's Izawa putting a wheel into the, well, just slightly off the track there. And he's doing everything he can to stay in front of these guys, driving super defensively. But what is wrong with that car? It's going to be out the back of the field soon, if they ever get past.
Yeah, they're going to be, and speaking of, if they ever get past, the next issue is we're a couple of laps away from the GT500s catching the GT300. So even though that the battle through the inter-class battle, if you like, is has been quiet for a few laps after the safety car, fairly shortly now, this pack is going to be on the back of the GT300 pack. And it's almost like he's lacking in straight line speed. Kovalainen comes to the inside, finally gets through.
Yeah, he got a great toe down start-finish line, but that was taking candy from a baby on the back of it. So I think you're right. It looks like the Modulo car, the Honda, is down on power. And that's not a problem with Honda's power unit. It's not a problem with the Honda 4-cylinder engine, because the Arthur NSX clearly doesn't suffer from that problem, nor do the other Hondas. So it's specifically to that car. I think it's down a bit on power, and they are getting ready to make a pit stop. The pit window, the ideal pit window, is in about 8 laps' time. But it looks like they're getting ready to go early. Ronnie Quintarelli, though, now having a run on the Arthur NSX, trying to go round the outside. Will he make that stick? I think he will, you know.
Yeah, of course he will. He loves a bit of that. So into the 130 yard, yeah, cleanly and quickly through.
That was a very nice move by the Italian driver. Lives in Japan now. speaks about 25 different languages fluently. As you heard, said he was hoping to head back to Italy for the winter and see some of his friends, but unfortunately because of the global situation that might not be possible. So he's spending time in Japan and, well, as he has been forever, enjoying it. He's got a great tow now off the back of the Modulo car. There's a GT300 car in the way, though. He couldn't make the manoeuvre he wanted to as the X-Works Audi gets in the way and backs up all of those GT500 cars. Oh, I would not want to be looking in the rearview mirror of that Audi.
Quintarelli down the inside, then they're all going to just stream past the Modulo car if he's not careful. Quintarelli through. I really thought the Arta car would have made the move there, as the two Hondas very, very close behind in front of the Wacos team rookie Toyota.
As Quintarelli's got past and disappearing off, he'll open up a gap now. Will the Arta car manage to do the same down start finish straight, and will the Raybrigg NSX bit a gap? Honda on Honda as the Mach 5. 86 is the next GT300 car to cause a bit of confusion in the back. Certainly does. The Raybrigg NSX gets alongside the Arta car. Will Arta have a response? The answer is no, because the Wacos team rookie car is now having a go and getting past, as is the Craft Sports GTR. Trouble for the Arta NSX, I think.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. In the middle of the pack there, it was Kohei Hirate looking particularly racy in the white NSX as well. Sorry, white GTR there.
A GTR that isn't looking especially racy is the Realized Corporation GTR. That's yeah, that car's been struggling all year and continues to struggle. We'll see how it gets on in the hands of Jan Mardenborough. He takes over Takaboshi at the pit stops. For those Welsh viewers, it's not looking like a great day out for Wales's top racing driver, I believe.
I wonder how many viewers we have in Wales. If you're watching in Wales, give us a thumbs up. Let us know where you're watching. That's always entertaining to see, as we see that stream of GT500s now coming through the hairpin. So this is now P7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and so forth, all the way back to Sasha Fenestraz at the back, who not only is carrying 82 kilos of weight, Sam, he's the first of our cars in the championship to have the fuel flow restriction applied to his car this year.
Absolutely. So these cars, these engines are fuel flow restricted. But before I talk about fuel flow restrictions, I'll talk about pit stops. And here are some. Lap 24, trying to get out of the traffic. Clearly running out of tyres was the Arta NSX. Trying to get out of traffic was the Tom's car. I didn't see who started that. I think it wasn't Nick Cassidy, so he'll be getting into the Tom's Supra. Looks very leisurely, the pit stop here, but that's because no tyre warmers allowed, and you can't refuel. While you're refueling, you can't do any other work on the car. As you see, as you're allowed to put the driver in, as Nick Cassidy gets in. Or is it getting out? I didn't really see actually. It's pressure on it, that was.
Arta have taken 4 tyres, Sam. They did the rears before the fuel. The fuel has gone in. They're now doing the fronts, and they're away.
I suspect it may have been the tyres going off at Arta while they dropped off quite significantly. The 37 Tom's car just about to get going. That all looks quite routine. Long fuel stop. So Hirakawa and Cassidy do the swap. A little bit slow to get away, perhaps. And the Realize, yes it was, the Realize GTR has got a position on the Tom. So a little bit of a slow stop there for the Team Toms.
Oh, and just coming out into a pack of GT300 cars as well on cold tyres. So less than ideal there for the Keeper Tom's car.
And it was Nick Cassidy getting in for those watching in New Zealand. Let us know just before you let us hit the like button and let us know where you are in the world. It's always good to see. Got a complete global audience here on the race for Super GT as more pit stops come. The Modulo NSX comes in, followed by the Raybrigg NSX and the other one of the Team Tom's Supras. That's the AU Tom's car 38. So Sasha Fenestraz will be handing that car over to his teammates.
We're following the Fenestraz car. That's a shame. I was hoping. Here we go. I want to see whether there's any visible damage on the front tyres of the Modulo NSX here, because, you know, the car running Dunlop tyres as they pull them off. It would be interesting to see if there's any blistering, Sam, on the inside shoulder, because clearly the driver was struggling there before the pit stop.
Now, these green flag pit stops are routine, a little bit earlier than we expected, but I think the on-track traffic meant that it was the time to do it for a lot of these cars, mainly caused by this car, quite frankly, that was holding up a lot of the other GT500 runners. And it'll be interesting to see if the AU Team Tom's car can get out in front, though they won't. Another fairly slow stop for Team Tom's, actually, there.
Yeah, there goes the unsafe release. Just drops in behind the Modulo car. Yeah, they let him go. In fact, no, I think it was just the perspective which we were looking at. But yeah, it did look relatively steady. You're right, Sam.
I can see the blue suits of Team Cahin out in the pit lane, and which is the race leader Bertrand Baguette's car, and I can see the Red Bull liveried guys of Team Mugen out there and Team Wacos Rookie. There is the Cahin car. The race leader is in for Tsukukoshi, taking over from Bertrand Baguette out of the lead. This is all looking quite routine at the moment. The Yuji Tachikawa has retaken the lead in the Zent Tsurumo car as a result. The moving up to second, because they haven't come in as well, is Hiramine in the Team Impel Blue Calsonic GTR. And third position now, Heikki Kovalainen in the 39 Team Saad Supra.
Sakaguchi getting up to speed.
Oh,
as we see the GT300s making their stop. Pit space at a premium, so having to stop at 45-degree angle and then get a pushback. Driver stalls, unfortunately, as the Cahin car recovers from his stop.
That's not ideal, is it? Some tracks, and I believe this may be one of them, the GT300 field size is capped because there are too many cars to fit in. Sportsland Sugo, which we don't visit, sadly, this year, due to the ongoing situation and no spectators being allowed. That prevents us racing there, but normally they have to whittle down the field a little bit in GT300 so that you can fit all of the cars in the pit lane.
Again, Sam, those clouds in the background, they look relatively ominous, but no sign of rain or wipers just yet. But, you know, it's happened before in Super GT, right at the end of the race. A small shower has properly spiced things up as we see the Wacos Team rookie car coming out ahead of the Modulo car, who's on warm tyres and just cut straight past.
Yeah, this is something you see when cars come out of the pit lane in Super GT. Don't think it looks like they've got a problem, because they're absolutely crawling around like that GT300 car. He looks like he's crawling because he's being passed by GT500 cars as well. There is definitely rain in those clouds. Because there's no tyre warmers allowed in Super GT, cars coming out of the pits really struggle to get tyre temperature, as you see in the Wacos Team rookie Supra just weaving around, desperately trying to get some tyre temperature in before the AU Tom's Supra comes and mugs him. But I think it's a little bit too late for the Team Wacos rookie car.
And with these cars being a proper race car, no ABS, no stability management, when you have a cold set of slicks, they take at least 2 corners to give you the grip of a premium road tyre, and they take at least a lap to get up to full working temperature, which would be about 75 degrees Celsius. So, yeah, drivers coming out from the pit stops really vulnerable to attack, as we see here.
Well, trying to go round the outside, the front splitter hitting the ground and sparking spread. They hit each other, and once again the AU Tom's car gets a biff at Motegi, and it looks like he's going to lose a place now to the Raybrig NSX as a result. That looked a little bit morally hazardous, and the driver of the AU Tom's car is getting rather irate in that situation, so I think we might see some angry racing driving.
Yeah, Sakaguchi, he's looking particularly racy as we see the red car, the Motor Lawtech GTR, coming out of the pits, and straight away a little lock up into turn 1 from Sugo Matsuda, who's now aboard that car.
He is indeed the railfan driver of Nissan, an obsessive Nissan GTR collector as well. Loves driving, loves his job, loves this sort of racing. And the driver of the AU Tom's Supra not really loving what's going on, as meanwhile the Hoppy Porsche comes in from the front end of the GT300 field.
Good job from them today. It's great to see the Hoppy team back at the front of the field. The 911 been a little conspicuous by his absence. We see the Zent Tsurumo car making their pit stop, so all quiet while they put the fuel in. Then they'll do the second pair of tyres after the fuel stop. Sam, we've had a hello. We've had a hello from Cardiff, by the way, on the chat.
What is that? It's Tachikawa handing over, of course, to Ishiura at the front of the GT500 pack. Now, when all this cycles back in, we will see how that works out as the cars rejoin, but I think there is still quite a scrap going on for the lead. It's a little bit interrupted by this cycle of pit stops, as you can see, as the Zensurumo car rejoins the field, losing 42 seconds in the pits. That's kind of what we expected. There it is, coming out just ahead of the Keihin NSX, but it's not right for the Arta NSX. He's now got some sort of tyre issue on the right front, and I think we were just about to see a change of lead as well, as Kudai's Tsukoshi gets past. Well, it's not Tachikawa at the wheel of that car, it's Ishiura. The graphic is incorrect. But he gets past Ishiura and retakes the lead for the Keihin NSX. And more trouble for the Realize. Now, if they come together, right rear damage on one and left front damage on the other, I mean, that's a little story in itself. Yes,
yeah,
they
there
have.
You go. Yeah. So let's just look as they pass through the clipping point of turn 10. Oh, relatively hefty contact there between the Nissan and the Honda. And yeah, unfortunate contact there.
Now, Jan Mardenborough had only just taken over that Kondo Racing run GTR, and he's not going to be happy with that. Look, a very self-critical driver, possibly too self-critical, but that's what makes him quick, so don't argue with that. But that is not the best start. For the second race this year, Jan has a very damaged front end on his car.
Yeah,
and it looks like the Arta, yeah, they've given up on that.
Yeah, and I'm afraid it's game over for the Nissan as well. There was coolant dropping out of the front of that, so that's Mardenborough's afternoon done and dusted. My nose is wrinkled up. Jan will be furious, and yeah, it's game over for Mardenborough, I'm afraid.
Well, it's game on for the red car versus the blue car. This is the battle we've been talking about, well, basically forever in Super GT. The Motul Ortec GTR of Tsugo Matsuda trying to get past Daiki Sasaki for 5th position. Two rival GTRs. Will they come to blows? Possibly not. Never know.
Yes, these two, for viewers new to us, these two have history. There is almost no, in fact, yes, there is no love lost between the red car and the blue car. They've raced nose to tail for literally decades, and it's great to see that battle being renewed at Motegi this afternoon.
There was at one point a yellow car as well, but unfortunately the sponsor of that never, the sponsors who funded the yellow car went away. So we have the red car and the blue car fighting it out alone as they go past the Gainer Tanax GTR, GT300.
Sam, the race is just starting to show signs of how it's going to work into the second half as these pit stops are coming to a close. For most of the field, this is just a single stop race. So once we see that round of pit stops done and dusted by about lap 32, 33, we'll have a straight race to the flag. But yeah, Tsugo Matsuda going defensive there. The Waycos rookie car, great move around the outside of the S-curve. Mega stuff.
Just, I've been watching just to look at these battles are just wonderful to observe. And look at that, the Calsonic car now being, well, there you go. I mean, it's GT300 traffic and Super GT. This is what it's all about.
Sorry, can't speak.
Yep, just trying to make sense of that battle there. There you go. You've got GT300 cars, GT500 cars, and we'll work out who's got the order at the end of it. I think there's a bit of contact going on there as well between the AU Tom's car and the red car.
What's fascinating as well is the AU car in the middle there that clearly has corner speed, bags of corner speed, but with the fuel flow restriction, which you can talk about when all this is over, Sam, he's just hindered in a straight line, and a fascinating additional thing to think about in this straight battle.
Yeah,
Blimey.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, we'll get to the fuel flow at some point, but I mean, there's too much racing on track at the moment to talk about that. Because in GT300, there's great battles as the J-Lot Lamborghini gets past the Hoppy Porsche, and that is quite an important move because the Hoppy Porsche was right up the front of the GT300 field, but after that, reshuffling the pits, shall we say, they are further down the top 10 order in GT300. The 360 run-up sports GTR still leads the class, but the Aston Martin is now coming to join the party with the Hoppy Porsche. Hoppy, in case you're wondering, is a potato-based beer-like beverage, often mixed with salt shoe to make a very refreshing drink, which I enjoy.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I was just thinking, I wonder what Hoppy is. So it's a potato-based beverage, everybody. Thank you, Sam. We saw in the background there Nick Cassidy doing a spot of off-roading in his Supra. It's showing Cassidy on there, so it must have been Rio Hirakawa in for the start, Sam. So Cassidy on board, so watch for, despite his fuel flow restriction, despite the medium-sized passenger that he's carrying in the form of 66 kilos of success ballast, he'll be flat-out maximum attack, as he always is.
66 kilos is not a normal size human male.
Sorry, I've been floating around the world of ill racing drivers for 20 years.
Yeah,
so yeah,
exactly.
we spend our lives just permanently on a diet, unfortunately. So yeah, a medium-sized female human, or a medium to small racing driver, 66 kilos.
I was trying to feed a racing driver cupcakes yesterday. Didn't work.
Nah, you're wasting your time.
They're very nice cupcakes. Well, we've got a great battle on track now. Suge Matsuda not having the best start to his stint here at Motegi. He's no longer fighting with the blue car he intended. He's got Sho Suboi in front of him, the Waycross team rookie Supra, and losing a bit of time now to the team Impul GTR, which is gapping away a little bit. And I think that may be slightly down to the success ballast you get. They won the last race, and the fuel flow restrictions. So these are fuel flow restricted engines in GT500, just like in Formula 1 and WEC. There's a maximum amount of fuel flow per minute, but unlike WEC and Formula 1, it's not monitored by a sensor, it's an actual restrictor. So sometimes you will see them stalling out at the end of the straight.
Yeah, it's one of the things. I was just going to say, Sam. Yeah, it's one of the things that works so effectively to stop a single car dominating the championship. You win races, you get weight. You win a couple of races, you're soon into fuel flow restriction, which is just it kills you. It really does. It doesn't enable you to win race after race after race.
And the Subaru is in the pits in GT300s. And that was its expected pit stop.
I say it every time, but a cracking looking little car. It would make a beautiful looking road car as they make their stop at just after what would be half distance. He's going to come back out in clean air as well, just in front of the Leon Mercedes. That was the car that we saw crash so spectacularly at Suzuka last time round, and then went on to finish about 5th in the race. So he drove it out of the barrier and went round and took the checkered flag. So great job. And yeah, he's round the outside. So that's the Leon Mercedes up into P6 after his pit stop.
In case you're wondering, the Subaru BRZ, why the Subaru BRZ doesn't look very much like the GT86, considering both should actually be based on the same production car. The Subaru BRZ is actually based on the production car with real production car parts, whereas the GT86 is in this race silhouette cars based on a carbon fiber monocoque chassis. There shouldn't really be any difference in the speed between them. The BRZ uses a flat 4-boxer engine, and the 86s use a unidentified 4.5-litre V8 engine. Definitely not made by a manufacturer that races occasionally with them. Well, there you can see the key information in GT300. Why we're not talking about the battle at the front so much, as you can see, the 360 Sports run-up GTR is still due in the pits. Tomei Sports going long. Arto RCF, also the team to the tie car, in 2nd position because they haven't stopped. And the Hair Products GTR Car 48 also hasn't stopped, so they'll all lose place. I think the realised GTR and Greengrave GR Supra also need to make other stops, as we said. They only came in on lap 12, and I think they haven't yet made driver changes because they may have picked up debris-induced punctures earlier in the race. And nobody is going to be very thankful to the 87 Lamborghini for that reason.
No, that produced a big cloud of carbon fibre shards, as well as taking the front end off that GT500 car at the same time as we cut back to our GT300 race leader.
He's clearly in the lead. Aoki's still at the wheel up from the start, so led from the start of the race, pole position. Tomei Sports, a well-known Nissan tuner who's been involved. And there is the second driver, Shibata, waiting to take over. And, well, I think the look of Shibata's eyes suggests that they may be taking the approach that Nissan, not Nissan, that the Lotus team used for many years when they had an older gentleman driver, that they'd go very deep in the first stint of the race to try and make the time with their faster driver, and then let the slightly more, well, Rob Barff aged, or as I call it, elderly driver, take over and go a little bit slower in the second stint.
Yes, thanks, Sam. Remember, the driver on pole position today was 45 years old. So we cut back to that brilliant camera at the apex of turn 6, the 130R, looking at the Prius of Nakayama going defensive against the J-Lock Lamborghini.
45 years old, about half Rob Barff's age. This Toyota Prius here uses a real hybrid system from a production car from the Toyota. It's from the Toyota Camry hybrid. They use the hybrid system from, and it does work. It does give the car a little bit of a performance boost, but they can't use it as an overtake button in sort of quite the same way as you might expect some hybrid systems in other cars to race. But the Lamborghini has got it. It's got a tone out off the back of the Prius. Unexpected words. It's going to try and have a run, but the Prius is going defensive. I'm not sure he's going to hold off the J-Lock car here, though. And round the outside, but the Prius's hybrid boost is working on the exit. But the Lamborghini is going to get it done, is he? Yes, he does, into the final chicane.
Yeah, great move there. Great move for the Lamborghini. Started with a move around the outside of 11, hung him out to dry through 12, finally made it stick into 13. So, yeah, he moves up a place. So up into 7th now, the Prius down into 8th.
Well, we've just gone past half race distance. And Tatsuro Restu, I'll just put this in because, no I won't, because we've got too much action going on here, because the Modulo car is causing all sorts of havoc once again.
So interesting to see that second set of Dunlops that's gone onto the Modulo car hasn't improved their performance. So it must be a mechanical problem with the car rather than the tyre grip, Sam, as we see the Wacos rookie car looking around the outside, and he says, looking down his list, the red, oh, look, sorry, I give up. I'm looking back at my screen now.
I think that, look at that, he just completely got zomped and he touches the red car going through. Well, passed by 2 cars in one corner. That just shows you 3 cars in one corner. That just shows you the problems that Modulo NSX is having. I'm not sure what's behind those problems as the race leader in GT300 comes in for his routine stop. We've just passed half distance, by the way, everybody, so if that's been enough action for you, hit like and subscribe and come back soon. But I think there's going to be a lot more action in the second half of this race as the Raybrig NSX gets past the Modulo NSX. You're watching Super GT Round 4 of the 2020 season on the-race.com. Stay tuned, there's a lot more action to come.
Sounds great, doesn't it, as he makes his way off, lights up the rear tyres. As he makes his way down pit road, there's going to be a drag race out of the pit lane, down into turn 1 between the Nissan on the left of our picture and the AMG on the right. Remember, the Nissan, as we mentioned earlier, will be on stone cold tyres, and the Leon AMG, nice warm one. So coming up towards turn 3, which is the next left-hander, will the AMG look to the inside? I think he probably will, Sam.
This is the battle for 4th position according to the timing system, but in reality, I think this is the battle for the lead of GT300, and that's just changed with the Leon of Gamu, Mercedes taking that lead. The cars in front, Team Thailand, Hondo Racing with Fujiminami at the wheel, and Kota Kawai in the Saitama Toyopet Green Wave. Supra, I think are all due to stop again, with the potential exception of the Green Brave Supra, because I think they did make a driver change at that early stop.
Ah, okay. Interesting. Yeah, they're obviously they won the first round of the series in GT300, and because of that and some strong other results, they're carrying 75 kilos of weight handicap. So maybe they've just gambled. We know their car is relatively light on its tyres as well, so we'll have to keep an eye on that one. Meanwhile, coming back to the battle in GT500, looking back at Sugo Matsuda there, who's currently in 6th, chasing down the Wacos team rookie car in 5th.
Yeah, and Matsuda just hasn't seemed to quite have got going in this stint so far. We'll see how he gets going. I haven't actually compared the lap times, but I do think the Motul Ortec GTR holds the outright lap record here at Motegi, quicker than an IndyCar.
Wow, that gives you an idea just the pace of these GT500 machines. Looking at our race leader coming down, this will be completing lap 36 as he just follows Hatsune Miku through the final victory corner here at turn 14 as he makes his way out to start lap number 37 of 63.
He's pushing super hard. I mean, you can see him flashing his light, desperate to get by. The reason he's pushing so fast is that Hiroki Ashura in the Zensurumo car is only 3.6 seconds down the road, and in traffic with GT300 you can lose 3.6 seconds very, very quickly. There's Sasahara in the Red Bull Mugen Honda. He's been a bit of a revelation this season, Sasahara. Didn't really plan to be in these cars, but he's due to some of the restrictions on other drivers being able to get to Japan, Sasahara has found himself a little bit more employed than he was sort of planning to be, and he's proving to be very competitive.
Yeah, he is solidly there in the Red Bull Honda that we saw lose a wheel at the last round at Suzuka, but yeah, in P3 at the moment, doing a great job.
A couple of people in the chat, Youssef Remy being one of them, asking, can anybody buy a GT500 chassis and come and compete in Super GT? The answer is yes, but don't expect to be super competitive straight away because it's a very high level of competition. There are some old Aston Martin DTM chassis for sale by AMG, and if you were to find an engine deal that suits the GT500 regulations, I think Toyota might sell you a Super Formula engine, you would be able to come and race in this championship. You'd be welcomed. But don't come without a very large wallet. Good drivers, good engine, great tyre deal.
Here we see a great battle between two FIA GT3 cars with the aforementioned Hoppy 911 leading the Vantage. This is a battle for 7th in GT300.
It is indeed. It's an interesting one. This is the Aston Martin team is one of those teams that haven't got their. Nicky Tim was supposed to be driving that car, and he's not been able to get to Japan, so he's probably watching somewhere at home. That's how I imagine he is. As Kaguri and Iguchi, Lamborghini versus the Subaru BRZ. The Lamborghini teams have been a little bit grumpy so far this season about the balance of performance, the BOP they've been given. It seems to have worked out a little bit better for them here at Motegi. Perhaps the track just suits the Lamborghini a bit better. They've been rather rudely referring to the Subaru BRZ, Toyota Prius and the mother chassis cars as GT400s. The name of the class is GT300. It's meant to denote the horsepower figure of the cars, 300 horsepower in GT300 and 500 horsepower in GT500. The reality is that the GT300 cars have way more power than that, and the GT500 cars have way more than 500 horsepower. But listen to the noise of these cars as they come through these corners. I'm going to stop talking for a bit. So's Rob, so we can listen to this fantastic noise.
Love the noise of that anti-lag from the BRZ as we see the Aston make a brilliant move around the outside of the Porsche turn 13. So he moves up a place as we see that hard charging Zensurumo Supra in P2 overall, pushing hard. And yeah, the Lamborghini running wide there at turn 1.
Yeah, he didn't want to do that, and that's well, that's helped out the Subaru a little bit, hasn't it? Well, in GT500, the anti-lag, you can see the battle between first and second there in GT500 as well. The anti-lag system sounds different between each manufacturer's engine. I was sitting at Motegi train station a couple of years ago on a rainy day, and that rain hasn't promised to arrive. It's promising to arrive at Motegi, but it's doing that thing it does in Formula 1 by not actually turning up. As there's another great battle in GT300 in the offing of the Prius there, getting into the mix with the Arta NSX, and there is the K-Tunes Lexus, and this is
Sammy, it just gives you an idea of the depth and quality of racing. Here's two cars we haven't seen all afternoon. You know, we haven't seen the K-Tunes RCF at all up to this point in the race. That's interesting. Is that a second stop for another set, for a third set of Dunlops?
Yeah, so the Epson sponsored number 64 Nakajima Racing NSX there, the modulo car. It's not been a good day for them. No, it's a good day for us with racing like this. Hit like and subscribe and we'll tell you what's going on.
What happens if they don't hit like and subscribe? Can I have another cup of tea?
No, I'm confident. So you've got the Motul Ortec GTR in what seems to be a perpetual battle with all of this lot. We didn't see how, but the Team Impul car has lost a lot of positions recently. And Sugio Matsuda is up ahead of this little pack, and I'm not quite sure how, but yeah, the Team Impul car has dropped down the order. He was cleanly ahead of the red car, and now he's some numbers behind. So there's been some mishap has befallen the number 12 GTR.
Yeah, Daiki Sasaki dropping back in the pack, and Suga Matsuda then braking super hard. Well, that's the first puff of brake dust we've seen off his car. Here we go. Is this the point?
Yeah, it must
no,
be.
It's just...
So you've got the Calsonic GTR up front, wheel-to-wheel contact, and fires off the yellow Prius into the gravel trap. That's what's gone on. So that's why the Prius there, the number 30 Prius, the yellow one, slower one, but he's managed to get out of the gravel trap. That's why they lost time, but we didn't see what cost the Calsonic car time.
No.
So he's dropped about 5 positions just after that incident. So we're still missing a little bit of information there.
That could be seen as morally hazardous when it's a 50-50 and the quicker GT500 fires off, as you rightly say, a GT300. That normally has some sort of moral hazard connotation, Sam.
It absolutely does. What also wasn't morally hazardous was that Lamborghini getting back past the Subaru, which was a good battle. This is the battle, of course, between Iguchi and Kogure. Shibata in the Tomei Sports 360 Nissan is just a little bit up the road, and Gamu in the Leon Mercedes just ahead of that. The Saitama Toyopet Green Brave Supra is ahead of the pair of them, as is the Kondo Racing GTR. But I think Fujinami in the Kondo Racing car does need to stop and give position to JP Oliveira and make another stop for fuel and tyres. There is somebody getting ready in pit lane, but I can't see who it is.
Great couple of laps from our race leader. He stretched the lead out from about 3.5 seconds to almost 6.5 now, Sam. So he's made his way through the GT300 field really cleanly and has gapped the Zendt Tsurumo car that had been charging him down up to that point.
It's looking like a good day out for Kudai Tsukakoshi in the Keihin Real Racing NSX at the front of the field. Hoppy at 911 there. A nice little moment. I was talking about Hoppy. Hoppy's been on sale in Japan. Thank you for the information. Since just after the end of World War II, it's been selling since 1948. It's an almost non-alcoholic drink, 0.8% alcohol, and it's made by the Kokota Beverage Company. And as I say, it's one of my favourite things to drink while I'm in Japan.
What's your favourite thing to drink when you're in Japan? Let us know.
Absolutely.
Click like, click subscribe, click favourite beverage.
Hironaka, though, is quite pleased all of that Hoppy is behind him, which is where he intends to keep it.
Yeah, the little hoppy there, it's been dropping down, unfortunately. It was P5, 6, 7, back in 9th now. So the second driver in the car not quite having the pace of the first one. The realised GTR then coming in. Here's that driver change. You were right, Sam. So they didn't change drivers at their first stop, purely took tyres.
Yeah, so JP Oliveira taking over that car. This could be quite a quick stop because they did take a bit of fuel on at that stop as well. We also see, it's not on your screen, but I can see it, the Saitama Toyo Pets Supra is in as well. There he is. So we'll see how they feed back into the order. Have they used this gap out in the front of the field to their advantage? The Leon Mercedes, there he is now the leader in GT300 ahead of the 360 Sports run-up car there in second position.
That hasn't really worked out well. They're dropping down the order. The realised GTR took tyres, took another set of tyres, whereas the Green Brave car coming out of the pit lane now, they didn't. They just did a purely fuel and driver change as he gets mugged as they come into the sector where the pit lane bleeds into turn 1.
Well, thanks to those who are supporting the channel. What you're supporting is amazing racing action like this. Lights being flashed. It's not Christmas. It's just great Super GT action as the Raybrick NSX and the AU Tom Supra work their way through this gaggle of GT300 traffic.
Again, this is what makes Super GT so special. The inter-class racing and rivalry between the drivers, between the manufacturers, between the tyre manufacturers, and the head-to-head racing out on track as they make their way through the slower GT300 cars. So this battle then, 4-6th. Yuki Sakaguchi carrying 82 kilos, 82 was it? Yeah, 82 kilos of weight ballast and a fuel flow restriction, racing Yamamoto, who we know only has one speed in the Raybrick NSX. So great battle there for 6th.
Naoki Yamamoto, top Japanese driver probably at the moment. He's won Super Formula, he's won this championship. He's tested for, he's done free practice for Toro Rosso in Formula 1 last year. There was rumours that he would be getting a AlphaTauri contract this year, but I think that's going to go to Yuki Tsunoda for 2021. Meanwhile, the real action, you'll hear all about that on the-race.com. They've already got some good articles speculating on the Formula 1 driver market, but what I'm more interested right now is the Super GT battles going on. We've got 20 laps to go here at Motegi. You're watching round 4 of the 2020 Super GT season on the-race.com. Don't forget to hit like, don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to tell us where you're watching from if you haven't done already, once you've done all of those things. Great action coming up next weekend on the Race Live British GT, but there's also a whole load of podcasts, including Bring Back V10s, and also to the likes of Diecast Kid. Thank you very much for supporting this channel so we could bring you great Super GT action. And
action like this, Sam. Yeah, action like this. The GT300 battle looking towards the bottom end of the podium. The Aston Martin, it's moved its way up. If he makes a move on the BRZ, he'll be into P4 and then closing in on the back of the podium. So still just less than 50% chance of rain, air temperature of 25 degrees, track temperature of 31. Pretty pleasant afternoon in Japan. We've got viewers all over the world, though. We mentioned somebody from Wales earlier. We've got Canada, Brazil, the Philippines, Indonesia, India, Chile, mental. Hi, Chile, nice to know you're there. Brazil, North Korea, Hong Kong, Mexico, Cape Town, South Africa, Poland, Germany, and Hertfordshire.
Zurich, Switzerland as well, I know, are tuned in, as are many people in the hometowns of drivers like Sacha Fenestraz, Ronnie Quintarelli, and many other places. Of course, we always get a big contingent from New Zealand cheering on Nick Cassidy. And I know Sean Walkinshaw's tuned in at home somewhere in England. Here we get a replay, though, of something.
A bit of side-by-side action. Yeah, the keeper Tom's car making a move on the Raybrick car. That could have been a reaction from the cameraman to a little bit of contact, but they were certainly very, very close. Now we see
that is a restaging of the battle in Super Formula last year. Nick Cassidy versus Naoki Yamamoto. And Nick Cassidy gets turned around by Sakaguchi, his teammate. And that puts off the Nissan as well. That will be an interesting conversation after the race because they are teammates. Yeah, and that look said it all. Hirakawa's face.
You did mention the golden rule, Sam, earlier, didn't you? Do not crash into your teammate. And yeah, that was significant contact, and we now have some debris in the middle of turn 11. So yeah, the still carbon coming off the back of Nick Cassidy's car there as he comes round through the S curve. Interesting to see if that damage is going to cause him any further problems.
Well, a special shout out to our viewers in Canada, of course. We never forget Canada. They are very important to this channel. So let's look at this, though. Nick Cassidy tries to get up the inside of his teammate, who then just shuts the... Oh, that was not only morally hazardous, I think that was team contract hazardous as well, and nearly took out the Craft Sports Nissan as well. There is the 36 car. Sakaguchi, he's going to have an interesting conversation with Nick Cassidy after this race, I'll tell you that. And there is the lump of the AU Toms Supra. Now, will they send out someone to go and get that, or are they just going to leave it there to be clattered into? That would be nice to have on the studio wall, actually.
Coming soon to eBay if one of the lucky marshals does get out. Sorry, other auction sites are available. Coming soon to a generic auction site if one of the marshals is brave enough to go and get it. But that's a big lump of carbon, and we know these tyres are very sensitive to punctures, so they'll want to get that moved if it doesn't get moved beforehand.
Well, thanks for your questions coming in on the chat. We are monitoring them, but we're also monitoring a rather exciting motor race. So Waifu was racing, thank you very much. As to Ohio Rhino as well. Questions coming in though. What's the difference between the different colour numbers? Which class? GT300 has the orange sort of number boards and GT500. The easiest way to tell is the headlights. Yellow headlights for GT300, as you can see on the Subaru. White headlights for GT500. So drivers know who they are trying to hold off in a battle. So that's a GT300 car. The GT86 would have seen some white headlights and fought to get out of the way, but decided not to because he's in a bit of his own sort of...
Comments on the chat coming from sunny Cornwall. Now I know you're lying because looking out the window, the sun isn't even up yet. It's still dark. So nice to know you're there, but yeah, it ain't sunny. Here we go, Sam. Safety car, safety car.
That's for, yeah, I thought that might happen. That I was sort of alluding to that for that. There you go. Great TV direction here, actually. It's like they're listening to us or something. That's the reason for the safety car, so it won't be a very long safety car. And in terms of pit strategy, I don't think we'll see anyone come to the pits. Obviously, Cornwall is a bit behind the rest of the world because it is sunny in Hertfordshire. Daylight.
Is it really? Yes. Proper dark here. Proper dark. So, looking at this battle, this is what caused the debris. Cassidy down the inside. He's braking incredibly hard, locks the rear of the car, in fact, in a desperate attempt to miss Sakaguchi. And he was so lucky not to be T-boned there as he ground to a halt in the middle of turn 11. He could have been sideswiped, but yeah, that's the reason we've got the safety cars. They can move that crash structure, which came off the right rear corner of Sakaguchi's car.
Anime Matsuri, thank you very much. Somebody who isn't going to be saying thank you very much is Kudai Tsukakoshi. He had a 19-second lead over the TGR Zen Tsurumo number 38 car, and this safety car has deleted that lead in its entirety. You'll see the cars be brought back to the start-finish line and pulled up in order. GT500, GT300. And as the marshal recovers, the man in orange recovers a bit of an orange car. And we're going to compress the entire field up, and we will see racing soon. But the field will be sorted out first. all those time gaps eliminated, and we will have some pretty close action. Sugo Matsuda gets a restart from 5th on those Michelin tyres.
And we're going to have a 15-lap sprint to the flag, Sam. This is going to be nuts. If you and again, I say, please click like. 15-lap sprint to the flag with all these cars, all on old rubber, all to play for. Click like. It's going to be mega.
Well, I've just been looking at some of the comments coming in the chat. Anime Matsuri, big thank you. It's actually one of the car sponsors on the Hatsune Miku Good Smile Racing Team Uko car, based in Houston, Texas, USA. #FightGSR. Check that hashtag out on Twitter. It's a really good one. Bit more debris down there, and you can see the fro, not my haircut, but the Nissan recovery vehicle there looking to go and pick up that debris. DJ8 Boss, thank you very much. And Seung-Pil Lee from South Korea, Anyang in Seoul in South Korea. He thinks that today is very powerful. I think these cars are very powerful, and I think this racing action is great. And I am looking forward to this. Well, it's going to be, I think, ultimately, it's going to work out as about a 10 or 11 lap dash for the cash once they've sorted the field out and picked up those random bits of debris littering the circuit. And what a battle it's going to be in both classes, of course, because that Tomei Sports GTR clearly working very well here in GT300 round Twin Ring Motegi on the Yokohama tyres. The Leon Mercedes, their lead just got deleted as well. But the J-Lot Lamborghini in car 88, they're in 3rd. The Subaru is in 4th, and the Aston Martin in 5th. Championship leaders, though, car 11, Hironaka at the wheel of the Gainer GTR in GT300. Is not far off that lead pack as well. This is going to get as spicy as some arrabbiata sauce.
Nice. Arrabbiata sauce from Italy, no less. If you're in Italy, let us know you're there. But the Gamu Leon Racing AMG, Sam, that leads GT300, look where he's come up from. He came up from 13th on the grid. So a brilliant afternoon for them. They're going to be right in the mix going into this dash for the cash, as you say. And in GT500, very much as it was with the Keihin car leading. They've had great pace all afternoon, but the Zent Tsurumo car is going to be hard on his heels when the race is neutralised and restarted.
Stephen Manguino, thank you very much. One of our long-time supporters here on the channel. #Team Yellow Street Sweeper. Absolutely, the #1 Motegi Street Sweeper going backwards around the track during a race, obviously. So we're coming up to 4,000 likes, but we need those like buttons hit so we can bring you extra content and extra features during the season when we get back to Japan. If we get enough likes from you lot, we will be bringing you some really great content later in the year. So hit the like button, especially if your name is Jensen, because we know you're watching. So hit the like button, hit subscribe, and don't forget to let us know you're viewing in the chat on Twitter @WeAreTheRace, and follow the race, the-race.com. Don't forget that hyphen.
Did you just ask Jensen Button to press the like button?
Yes.
Is that like the like button? What's a like button? Is it like a small? Is it like a small version of a lighthouse?
It is. It's where Jensen lives, in California or something.
Nice. I love it. Yeah, and as Sam says, please hit like and subscribe, because if you don't, they'll replace us with like 2 really dull professional commentators, and they won't be half as entertaining as we are.
We know what's going on. But if you want to see some proper commentary and some proper motorsport action, there's loads more coming up on the Race YouTube channel. All of the best live motorsport action from around the world. Super GT, of course, which you're watching right now, but also the entire Super Formula Championship Round 2 coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Next week, though, British GT series at Donington Park, featuring the world's fastest gamer, James Baldwin, who took victory in his first ever real-world drive, following in the footsteps of Jan Mardenborough. He's competing in this race, well, not anymore because he's out, and he won in British GT early in his career. The NLS, which used to be the VLN series at the Nürburgring, also live on the channel. But there's lots more on the way, so subscribe not to miss any of the action. There's podcasts as well on the-race.com. Formula 1, looking at the Just General Formula 1 podcast, looking at every aspect of Grand Prix racing, discussion of breaking news, debate, biggest topics, and in-depth analysis after each Grand Prix, the next of which is this afternoon. Esports, the big talking points in the booming world of motorsports. Esports, brought to you by The Race, Formula E, of course, Jack Nicholls, and the-race.com's Formula E journalist Sam Smith, who lives just up the road from me. As the Season 6 review with Dario Franchitti has just gone live this week as well. And I promise me and Dario will not bolt together any broken old classic cars that we deliberately broke. MotoGP, of course, everything you need to know from the fascinating world of MotoGP racing with Toby Moody, the-races.com's MotoGP correspondent Simon Patterson, one of the most respected journalists in the world of two wheels, plus special guest as well, Gary Anderson, the former Formula 1 car designer, technical director, gives his take on all things for F1, offering opinions and technical insight. I'd like to hear what he thinks of Racing Point's brakes. Bring back V10 celebrates a classic era of Formula 1 when it was loud on track and off it. It usually features Ed Straw saying the word LaRousse. And finally, Hidden Voices, a new podcast for the channel. Claire Cottingham takes a look at diversity in motorsports. Box Chad, though, says, hey, is that a Supra? Yes, two different types, GT500 and GT300. We'll talk more about that. Aaron Gross, thank you very much. Your first time watching Super GT, and it's very entertaining. Gain a fan and subscriber from Texas. Like
three types of Supra on display, Sam. GT500, GT300, and the little white one at the front of the field, the Supra safety car as well. Made me smile seeing... Yeah, Safety Supra. Made me smile seeing Toby Moody's name come up. I know Toby loves this GT series, and the one word that he would have in the forefront of his mind would be fever. This is just great, and this is what we're going to get for that. It's going to be 12 or 13 laps once the time the pack is shuffled. And yeah, flat out to the flag. This is going to be a great battle to watch. AMG versus Nissan versus Lamborghini against the 86s. Going to be mega.
Don't forget the Subaru is there as well. There's an Aston Martin. Here you go. This is the GT300 leaders. There's the Lamborghini in third. Subaru fourth. Fifth is the Aston Martin. There's the next of the Nissans. That's a championship leader. Then the Hoppy Porsche. Then a Lexus. Then a Honda. Then an Audi. And then Hatsune Miku with that sponsor's logo on the door from the USA. Anime Mitsui. So it is great to have you all on board. It is fantastic. But up front, there's also this battle in GT500. Keihin Real Racing leads the pack. See the Zensarumo Supra second. Tasahara and the Red Bull Mugen Honda is in third position. So Suboi, fourth. Fifth is Sugo Matsuda in the first of the Nissans and the first of the Michelin tyre runner. Naoki Yamamoto, Team Kunamitsu, sixth. Seventh position, Yuhi Sekaguchi. Eighth is Katsumasa Chiyo, the Australian sort of driver on the other Michelin short Nissan, and Daiki Sasaki in the blue car Team Inkle. Nick Cassidy, 10th position in the keeper Tom's Supra. He has got a point to prove as well. So it won't be a standing start. It'll be a rolling restart when the lights go out on the safety car. At the moment they're on, but I think they're about to go out.
Yep, coming up towards turn 10. This is where the lights went out the last time round. No, I think he's staying out for another lap, Sam.
Well, thank you, Shreyas Murphy. That gave us time to give you a thank you for joining the channel and getting involved. All of this helps. Not our Christmas party budget, honestly, though our Christmas party may be in Tokyo after we've filmed lots of lovely segments about these beautiful, beautiful racing cars. Those lights, though, still on the safety Supra.
Yep, he's staying out for another lap. He won't be coming in this lap, so that's going to leave us by the time we finish this lap. There'll be 12 to go to the flag.
It's going to be, yeah, that is going to be quite the dash to the cash, as they might say in NASCAR. But right now, NASCAR is probably looking on with great envy. Great action in Super GT. Rumours that BMW will be joining the NASCAR Cup Series in 2022. And I've heard them from a number of sources, and I think there is something to that. BMW, though, got a bit tangled in GT300 earlier in the first safety car of this race. Also rumours that BMW may be joining GT500 next season. The only place they can race their Class 1 cars, but I'm not quite sure that they're up for it because they don't have the engine development that these Japanese manufacturers do.
If they came over, which tyre manufacturer do you think they'd use, Sam? Would they go down the Michelin route, sort of go down a European contact route, do you think?
Well, this is one of the big topics of discussion. Now, if you want to get Michelin on your car in GT500, the understanding is that you have to put those tyres on your production cars as well. So you have to put them on your new car. So Michelin is guaranteed to sell production car tyres by sponsoring the Super GT or by supplying the Super GT tyres. So Nissan, I believe, have said yes to that. So your new Nissan may well come on Michelin tyres, which means they can run Michelins in a GT500. But, you know, the Bridgestones are available out there. But does BMW have a good relationship with Bridgestone or Yokohama? Could we see one of the European tyre companies get involved? We know that BMW's got a long-standing relationship with Dunlop, for example. So they could end up on the Dunlops, which are currently purpose-built for the Nakajima Racing Honda.
Interesting, interesting. Okay, so as the safety car leads the pack through turn 6, I would imagine he's going to be coming in at the end of this lap. He'll come through 7 and 8 at the S curve here, where we saw the incident earlier on. And then as he comes out up the first part of the back straight, the lights, I'm fairly confident, will go out.
Are they still on?
Oh, no. Yeah, as he comes out of here, this is the uphill hairpin at turn 9. This is where he put the lights out before, and there you go, Sam.
Exactly on schedule. It's like you knew what you'd done this before. Or...
What, about 20 minutes ago? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Doesn't mean I was going to get it right, though, did it?
Well, the safety super has supered off, and now we are looking to the Keihin NSX of Kudai Takaskoshi to control the field. He's going to try and get a gap over Ishiura in the Zen Tsurumo car in second position. Keep an eye on Sasahara in the Red Bull Mugen Honda, and Sho Suboi in the Team Wacos rookie car. Sugo Matsuda in the red Nissan as well could be really strong on this restart, though it looked like he just locked his wheels a little bit. They're trying to get that tyre temperature in, but there's psychology going on here.
This is going to be spicy, Sam. I'm sat here with a massive grin on my face. This is going to be mega. There goes the Keihin Honda then coming through turn 11. He makes his break, and he's actually gapped the Zen Tsurumo behind. So a brilliant restart there from him.
Bad restart for Sasahara. Sho Suboi all over the back of the Honda there, the Red Bull Honda. Really bad restart for him. It caught him out, and he is under severe pressure right now. Still warming to get tyre temperature in.
Great restart from P1, P2. Little lock up there from Yuki Sakaguchi in the AU Tom's car. The GT300 race restarting now with the Leon Mercedes under a massive amount of pressure from the run-up GTR behind.
Exactly, not a great restart for the Mercedes there. The run-up GTR has got a good look, but there's battles going on right through the field already. The Subaru not getting off the line fantastically well on those Dunlop tyres. And that Lamborghini a little bit in no man's land. Look back, though, and there is the K-Tunes Lexus getting past the Hoppy Porsche. And the Audi, that red Audi, making its presence felt further down the top 10.
Yeah, the GT300 field is where the battles are, but Nick Cassidy trying to make a move on Katsumatsu Chiyo. Kiwi versus an Aussie.
But he's opened up the door to the Daiki Sasaki, who's trying to come back at him as well. And that means Cassidy got past Daiki Sasaki somewhere earlier on. Nakayama in the Team South car has dropped down a little bit.
Sakagoshi's checked out at the front of the field, Sam. He's gone.
Yeah, that
almost a second ahead now.
Yeah, that Keihin NSX is just working brilliantly today, isn't it? It loves this track.
Well, look, P2 on the grid, as I said earlier, he was quickest in warm-up as well, so they've been at the pointy end of the field all race, as the Hoppy 86 there was going side by side with another car through the hairpin as we cut back to this battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in GT500. 11 laps to go.
I think it was the Hitotsuyama Audi that he was in the battle with. That was the car we expected to see in the Suzuka 10 hours before it got cancelled. But hopefully we'll have that on this channel next year when it comes back, working in collaboration with Pit FM.
Evil Black Cat, thank you very much. And no, we didn't.
Well,
So
coming up to 10 laps to go, there is the Hitotsu Tune Audi with Kawabata at the wheel. And just trying to get it done on Matsui in the Hoppy Porsche as Hatsune Miku holds off JP Oliveira in the Nissan.
I said at the start, the top 5 were covered by a handkerchief at the finish of the Suzuka race. The entire GT300 field is covered by a tablecloth at the end of the Motegi round. This is brilliant stuff.
2 masters of Japanese racing here going at it. Sugio Matsuda in the red Nissan, Naoki Yamamoto in the 100 Raybrig NSX, 2 of the oldest teams in Super GT as well, and they are both former champions of this series, teams and drivers.
Combined wisdom there between those two, and the Raybrig NSX Yamamoto getting a great run out of the hairpin. I really hope we cut back to the camera at turn 11, please. Anytime soon would be nice. No, we're going to cut to we're going to stay on this battle at the hairpin. Yeah, that's what we should have been watching. And they are side by side now, coming underneath the banking, coming into the final corner. Matsuda leads Yamamoto, but for how long, Sam?
I think they're just having a great time at this, aren't they, these 2 drivers? They know it's going to be good, clean racing. It's not going to be morally hazardous. These 2 guys are some of the best in the business right now. But look further back, there are more battles in GT300. That is the Team Impel going against Team Saad, 2 more of the very old teams, and Impel getting the inside line, but Saad's not done with it. The Team Saad Supra trying to get a run, and the Modulo NSX has rejoined the party after his 3 pit stops. As the Raybrig NSX gets past, Yamamoto gets past Matsuda.
Sorry, I just threw my pen in the air and shouted Yamamoto as he sent it down the inside. Great stuff there from Yamamoto, and a really decisive move. Cars side by side in the background as well. That's Nick Cassidy and Katsumatsu Chiyo racing door to door. Now, Sam, the question is, will this pack of GT500s catch the pack of GT300s before the lead? 10 laps to go. It might happen.
Yes, I think it will happen. The speed differential is big enough that the GT... I think what's going to happen is actually the end of the race is going to have the race-leading GT500 pack in the middle of the GT300 pack.
Is it bad that I don't want to commentate on this anymore? I just want to watch. This is terrific. There we see the Saad Denso car of Heikki Kovalainen's teammate trying to go the long way around Nick Cassidy. I get the feeling Cassidy might be carrying a little bit of damage from that earlier contact with the AU Tom's car. Sam, what do you think?
Yeah, I think it might be ballast as a factor too, but it's clearly not working out for Cassidy here at Motegi today, which is a shame because he is one of the fastest drivers, not just in Super GT and Super Formula at the moment, but in the world. This is a guy who should be in Formula 1, frankly. If we had some more teams in Formula 1, I think he would have a drive. He's already proven his speed there. But look at the front of the GT300 field. Shibata chasing down Gamu, and this is a battle that is going to run to the end of the race. And if they hold each other up, look behind them, there's that Lamborghini in 3rd place, and he's not dropping back at all.
No, the Lamborghini's talk of balance of performance inaccuracies is going to be negated now. They've clearly got great race pace, and FIA GT cars running 1, 2 and 3 in GT300. AMG from Nissan, from Lamborghini, 10 laps to go.
Yeah, but being chased also by a Subaru BRZ Chaff GT300 car. Then some more FIA GT3s, and then you'll see some other chassis cars coming along behind that. The Prius has faded. We expected more from the APR Prius in this race. Hasn't really delivered. Their strategy didn't really work out, or the second stint hasn't worked out. Bit of damage, though, on the right-hand side of that Lamborghini, you notice. It's been in the wars somewhere, unseen by us.
Yeah, Rubbings Racing, as we see the 52 car, the GR Green Brave Supra coming into the pits. Another set of tyres for that car, and they were running at the tail of the GT300 field. Meanwhile, in the middle of the GT500 field, Chiyo goes super defensive on the run down to 11.
Really defensive there, trying to get up the inside, but he's got the AU Tom's car trying to get by, but the Team Saad Supra there battling as well with one of the other Supras. That is Nick Cassidy in the Team Tom's car. And, oh, look, the 2 Team Tom's cars are back together, Cassidy and, well, yeah, that'll be an interesting on-track conversation, won't it?
What could possibly go wrong? again.
Yes. Now, I know Cassidy will keep a cool head on this, but will his teammate? Already come together once, causing a safety car. Let's hope they don't do it again. This would be a bad 9 laps to go. It's not a good time for a safety car.
No, not at all. They're going to catch on the exit of T4 that GT300 green Supra coming back out of the pits, recovering from his stop, and all safely by as they come now down to a really good overtaking opportunity at T5. Is there contact between the teammates again? No, not quite, but they were very close again. Oh!
And it was very nearly more Toyota on Toyota action. It was Saad versus Toms versus Toms. And well, the modulo Honda now is on the verge of capitalising, but Cassidy is now released by both his teammate and the team Saad Supra, and he will make his chase after Geo in white. But will that Denso Supra be able to get on terms with Cassidy?
That was almost Toyota on Toyota on Toyota. It was a three-way battle. Unbelievable. I've just started to think, Sam, as well about the championship connotations of this battle as well, because it's really going to mix things up. We see our front runners almost towards the back of the field in both 500 and 300 championship series, so it's really going to mix it up for our next round at Fuji.
It really is, and in all classes the battles are just still going on, and yeah, every point is going to count in this championship this year. It's quite clear with the way the calendar is. This is so far away from what we expect. We still don't have confirmed race distances for the rest of the season yet either. We don't know it's going to be all 300-kilometer races, or if they're going to, or Bando is going to decide to throw a curveball and put in a long distance race at Fuji coming up towards the end of the season.
Certainly brightened up here this afternoon as well now, as we have 8 laps to run till the checker flag. I think that chance of rain has gone away. Wacos rookie car going really defensive from that hard charging Yamamoto in the Ray Brig car.
He's putting himself in a good position championship-wise, but look at this. This isn't so critical. Well, it is critical in terms of the championship because it's the front of the pack in GT300. But look at this. There's no real advantage or disadvantage between either of these two cars at the top of a GT300. But that Tomei sports car, the Nissan, is just desperate to get past the Leon Mercedes. But any time loss, and that Lamborghini is going to join the fight. So is the Subaru, so is the Aston Martin, and so is the Gainer Tanax GTR, who is leading the championship and looking very, very good here at the moment for getting a decent haul of points back in 6th position.
The final round of Lappery, Sam, is going to be critical, absolutely critical, and it could be, even though we're only at round 4 of our championship, if anything catastrophic happens, it could have huge connotations for the championship. And yes, it's relatively stalemate now between both the GT500s and the 300s, but remember, the two chains of cars are going to be into each other before the end of the race.
That's right. In Super GT, you have what makes Super GT is you have this ebb and flow of the race, and it's caused by the two classes. You have the GT300 class battle that you're watching now, which are going around as fast as they can, but much faster you have the GT500s. And it usually happens between every 8 to 10 laps. Well, we started from a safety car with 13 laps to go, which means with 2 or 3 laps to go, we're going to see the GT500s mixing it up with this great battle for the lead you see on track. And that could change everything.
And these GT300 cars, Sam, aren't slow. You know, these are really quick GT3 cars, so same kind of pace as that you'd see in VLN, or sorry, the equivalent name of VLN, which name escapes me currently, or British GT, for example. These are, thank you, NLS, and yeah, the pace of the 500 does make them look pedestrian, as we see the run-up GTR there flashing his lights in second, trying to put the Leon AMG, currently leading GT300, under pressure, just trying to distract him, force him into a mistake. But already I'm finding myself looking in the background, looking for those white headlights of the leading GT500 cars.
These, I believe, are the fastest GT3 cars, if you're just looking in a GT3 sense, in the world, because it's a tyre war class, so they have much better tyres than in any other GT3 championship.
Yes,
However,
that makes complete sense.
there is the race leader, Tsukukoshi. That is the gap he has back to the Zen Surumo car. He is gapping him. He's taking out about a second and a lap out of second position. There you can see it on your screen. The gap opening up. 7 seconds though, you can lose that in a GT500 scrap. That's why he's going so fast, trying to open up the gap, because any GT300 problems could cause problems for him in the race lead.
Yeah, he's going to be into the traffic at the end of this lap as well. So coming through the final sector now, sorry, beg your pardon, coming into the second sector now. By the end of this lap, he will be into the tail enders of the GT300s. And like you say, Sam, 7 seconds can just evaporate in a moment.
Particularly if there's a really tight pack in GT300, which there always is.
Sho Suboi still leading Naoki Yamamoto in the battle for fourth. Looking back at Yamamoto's teammate Makino.
He's got that look of expectation on his face. He expects his teammate to get that position. They're in a championship fight, that car. They are contenders for the championship. So I'm going to put it there now. Here we see in GT300, Gamu, Shibata, Kogure. Soon to be joined by Kikuchi. And I forget who's at the wheel of yesterday. Cosolino. No, that's the Cosolino is at the wheel.
It is, Cosolino.
Okay. Yeah. And there is another one. This is the battling I was talking about in GT300 that's always going on. The Hitotsuyama Audi, the Arta NSX, JP Oliveira in the Realize GTR, and the Hoppy Porsche, all trying to decide that they want the same piece of racetrack.
JP Oliveira on a, JP Oliveira, sorry Sam, on a charge as he always is, and the Hoppy 911 drops down another couple of places.
JP is one of the most experienced drivers, long-term GT500 driver. Got rather upset with some of the drivers, including the Arta NSX at the end of the race in Suzuka, for using him as the puck in a game of car ice hockey repeatedly. That's a car that I expect to see winning races this year, the Realize GTR.
Yeah, right place, right time. JP certainly has the skills to be at the front, and all they need is a roll of the dice, correct balance of performance, and I agree, Sam. We'll see them on the top step of the podium before too long.
5 laps to go here at Motegi, round 4 of the 2020 Super GT season. The-race.com. Get to like and subscribe after the race. Stay with us for the podium, gossip and intrigue and rumour. And it'll be interesting to see who's on the top steps of the podiums in both classes, as we are seeing those GT500 cars now beginning to mix it with the GT300s.
And this is what we're talking about. Sho Suboi there. He goes left. Will Yamamoto following through? Yes, he will. That could have been one of those moments that could have gone very badly for Sho Suboi there in the blue and pink Wacos Team Rookie Supra.
I can see it's making a difference already, Rob. I'm looking on my screen. We can't see it on your screen at the moment. We will shortly, because we're watching that great battle. But the race leader has lost about 5 seconds on the last lap.
Yeah, I saw that the gap, as soon as you said we're not looking at it, I glanced down and saw that we'd gone from 8 seconds to 3. So the traffic really does make a massive difference, particularly off a safety car when the GT300s look like that.
Yeah, that is the problem you're looking at. That is the Mugen Honda trying to get past an entirely huge battle, and that is what will have cost the race leader 5 seconds, because he found that group of cars doing what they're doing because they've been battling like that for lap after lap after lap, and we haven't even been able to cover it because. And the race leader's off in GT300. I don't know what's happened there. No, it's second position car. It's the 360. Nissan, he's just come to a stop. 4 to go.
That's our pole sitting GT300, potentially race-winning car, has stopped coming out of turn 9 as if it's run out of fuel with no obvious damage. Turn 9, to be fair, turn 9 is a very tight uphill left. It could be a broken drive shaft, it could be transmission, Sam, but yeah, it's just
unusual to see a transmission failure on those Nissan GTRs, though. It's quite an old GT3 car, as the team Thailand Lexus nearly loses it in there after being passed in the traffic by some GT500 cars. I think also with the yellow flag that came out for that 360 Nissan on the side of the track, there was still quite a bit of overtaking going on. He's gutted, look at that. He's absolutely gutted. As he climbs over the not Armco barrier, Shibata is devastated. There is your GT300 race leader, but look, there's second position. It's the J-Lock Lamborghini. There's third. It's the Subaru. There's 3 laps to go. This ain't done yet.
Nope. Completely transparent body language from the driver of the run-up GTR there, the pole-sitting car that ground to a halt. Coming out of turn 9, we'll see him parked on the edge of the road as the Leon comes out of this next corner. Is there still a yellow flag there, Sam? I don't think there is.
I think this is basically the script that Bando puts together for every GT500 race, that there should be some unexpected late race drama. Had it last time out, now we've had it this time, and I think there's more to come. Nick Cassidy versus Sugio Matsuda. That should be good.
And they've both moved up, you know, Sam. Matsuda's moved up 5 positions, Cassidy's moved up 6 positions, and yeah, they all have the body language of 2 drivers that haven't done fighting and scrapping this afternoon. See Matsuda running just a little bit wide. His tyres, the front tyres, the Michelin tyres getting a little old. That's given Nick Cassidy a chance to close right up on the back of the GTR, and already Cassidy's gambled left. Is he going to go around the outside? Can he make it stick? He's going to try. Nope, tucks back in as they come underneath the banking. Is he going to go the long way round at 12?
He's got much better traction than the Nissan in that Tom's Supra. The tyres he's using, the Bridgestones he's got, clearly working better than the Michelins on the GTR at the moment. But both of them are going to be chasing down Naoki Yamamoto. I mean, what stellar driver lineups. And Cassidy gets inside the first corner. Matsuda didn't have anything left in those tyres to defend with, really.
Yeah, Matsuda's tyres have gone. I thought the front tyres were looking a little bit old in the last sector of the lap, and yeah, as he picked up the power, it was obvious the rears had gone, as you said, Sam. The traction of the Nissan not able to match the Toyota. So Cassidy now up into 6th.
Yeah, that is good. But I don't think that battle's over, because look at this traffic. There's your race leader, Sukakoshi. 2 laps to go. Wow, time's flown by. Probably nearly daylight in Cornwall. 26.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like a lovely day as well. Anyway, looking back to our race leader, Sakakoshi coming through the traffic, has made the move on the Aston Martin. So he's now up to the 4th overall in the GT300 field. So he's just got the final 3 cars to pass, which will be the the Subaru there, then the Lamborghini, then the race-leading AMG.
Yeah, and these are the easier cars to get past, because quite right at the moment, thanks to the disappearance of that run-up sports Tomei Nissan, they are a little bit more spread out at the front of GT300 than the pack he went through before. So he just needs to pick them off one by one. And he's got a 6-second lead over Shiura in the Zensarumo car, who himself has a 3-second lead over Sasahara. Then 2 seconds back to Shosuboi, and then no time at all to Naoki Yamamoto, who's trying to get onto terms for 4th position. What you're seeing here is the battle for 7th, 8th and 9th, Matsuda, Gio and Nakayama. Gio on the same Michelin tyres as Matsuda, but they seem to be a little bit more alive than those on the red Nissan. Both cars prepared by Nismo in Yokohama. Craft Sports and Nismo developed together. Keihin NSX then passes the leader of GT300, and there are your 2 race leaders, the Leon AMG Mercedes, driven by Gamu, and the overall race leader, GT500, Keihin Real Racing.
Sam, job done for the Keihin Racing. A brilliant afternoon here at Motegi. Fabulous pace from that car all weekend, and it's going to be a formation finish from our 2 class leaders. Into the final sector of the final lap, it's been another blinding afternoon of racing in Super GT.
It really has, and there's still some positions to be disputed further down the order. Naoki Yamamoto's got a bit of time, bit of possibility to get into 4th position further back down the order, but that is the Keihin NSX, unless anything goes drastically wrong in the next few hundred metres for either that car or indeed this car. They've both secured very good class wins. I think the Leon Mercedes should be feeling quite lucky, because the run-up Sports Nissan was looking extremely strong just before the end, but the lights flash. Bertrand Baguette is probably smiling. We'll see him in a minute. But Suzukoshi brings home the Keihin NSX to win round 4, as Gamu brings home the K2 R&D Leon Racing AMG GT to win at GT 300. Nagini comes home in 2nd. Takuka Igochi 3rd position in the Subaru in GT 300. The Zensarumo was 2nd in GT 500, and Ukyo Sasahara brings home the Red Bull NSX in 3rd position in GT 500. Sho Suboi makes it 4th position for Wacos Team Rookie, just ahead of Naoki Yamamoto in 5th. Nick Cassidy 6th. Chio comes home in 7th, almost dead eating across the line with Sugio Matsuda in 8th. Yuichi Nakayama, oh well, there was a brilliant battle across the line which we didn't see for 7th, 8th, 9th, but it looked like a 3-wide dead heat across the line. Less than a foul.
And Chio got it. Chio got it.
Yeah.
Sam. Looking at the timing screen here, that's it. It will look 3 wide with all 3 cars covered by less than 1/10 of a second.
We need to see a replay of that. I hope we do, because that must have been spectacular.
So Matsuda clearly struggling with his tyres towards the end of the race, and yeah, great move from Chio to make it stick across the line. So I'm sure we will see a replay of that.
So did you enjoy that, Rob?
Yeah, wow, another great race. I'm always left not speechless. I'm just left really pleased with the state of play in Super GT at the moment. The battles are relevant. The balance of performance works well. It's entertaining. It's genuine racing. It's not staged. It's really very good indeed. If you've liked it as much as Sam and I have, please hit like. And thank you very much for your generous donations over the course of the race. We see it coming in, and it means a lot to us. So thank you, and it's great to be here to bring you all this type of action on the-race.com.
Well, 8,000 of you still joining us live. I think there's been a lot more because we don't see the real figures. Only 3,600 of you haven't hit liked. Haven't liked it. We need another 400 of you to hit like, please. But we will bring you the podium proceedings, the race interviews. We're going to hear from Bertrand Baguette, who I think put in a brilliant opening stint of this race in that car right there, the Keihin NSX. Zensarumo there in 2nd. There is Bertrand Baguette, working with driver. There is the winner of GT300, the Leon Mercedes. But Bertrand congratulating his teammate. They are very happy with that.
Very good afternoon for Honda. Looking at the championship table, we're going to see Baguette moving up. We're going to see Naoki Yamamoto moving up as well. And of course, at a circuit owned by Honda.
Well, the next race coming up is owned by Honda. That is a circuit owned by Toyota. It's Fuji Speedway. Coming up on the 3rd and 4th of October. Then 24th and 25th of October, the race is on the 25th. Back to Honda-owned territory. Suzuka is back. Then Motegi. Then the season ends unusually an 8th round on the 29th of November at Fuji Speedway. In Super Formula, though, the season goes on a little bit later. Okayama is next in a couple of weeks' time on the 27th of September. Then we have Sportsland Sugo on the 18th of October, 15th of November. Then we have Autopolis, then Suzuka on a double header, I believe. Indeed, on the 5th and 6th of December. And then the 19th and 20th of December, rounding out, is the Christmas running of the JAF Grand Prix Fuji Speedway. So there'll be jingle bells and all that for the end of the Super Formula season. 2020 racing season is whipping past, but we're going to have it all for you on the-race.com. Coming up later today is the reaction MotoGP and Formula 1. Next weekend, Donington Park British GT coming up right now. Don't forget to hit your like button, just a few more of you please, if you haven't done it. Otherwise, we're not going to show you the podium if you don't hit the like button now. You won't get to hear that wonderful Bertrand Biget interview and these super informative interviews with these drivers of the Leon Mercedes. Nice matching face masks though.
Speaking of bread-based snacks, Sam, who started this rumour about 4,000 likes for free pizza? Because I being a racing driver permanent on a diet, I wouldn't have mentioned that. This is interesting. Just looking back, a chat between Chio and Matsuda, so discussing that drag race across the line, and both of them looking very hot and tired.
Yeah, but we never got to see that drag race. What we are seeing is a slightly grumpy-looking Nick Cassidy. And we saw the Tomei Sports Nissan being towed back. Oh, shaking his... Oh, that is not a happy bloke. Yeah. Having a quick chat with JP Oliveira there, and shake of the head, and the expression said it, that not happy about that. And now, do you think that was Master giving Apprentice a lesson or a telling off between Matsuda and Chio?
I'm not sure. Yeah, it was difficult to tell.
So we're going to hear from the race winners first of all. Tsukukoshi and Bertrand Biget, the Keihin NSX team. Just being introduced. So Bertrand Biget first.
It's the maybe same situation that you remember that the Fuji is the beginning of the race. You get the first position and get away.
Yeah, exactly. Same situation at Fuji. Really same, except the safety car. Two safety car that made our job difficult. But yeah, it took a good start, and then I was kind of stuck behind the car 38. I couldn't find the opening. I follow him really close to try to put pressure on him. I was driving really hard on my front tires, so using a lot of my front tires. Finally, I found an opening with the traffic. I could get P1 and then safety car, and then. But the car was amazing. I mean, the team did an amazing job. Bridgestone as well, like very consistent, very good lap times, and then Kodai did an amazing second stint as well. So very happy today. Yeah.
まあですね、第2戦で優勝した時のようなですねパターンとなったということですね。まあ序盤でですね、セーフティーカーもありましたけども、本当に不利なような状況になりました。そしてですね、序盤その38号車捉えたかったんですけども、捉えきれなかった部分もありました。そしてフロントタイヤ使いすぎちゃったなという部分もありますけども、セーフティーカーによって助けられたという部分もありました。まあ本当にですね、もうチームそしてですねタイヤメーカーさんのですね助けによって今回も同じような勝利を得られたということですね。そしてですね、ゴールを切った。
Now we're going to hear from Tsukukoshi.
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。
Thank you.
セーフティーカーがなかったらどれだけリードを広げられたですかね。
Two safety cars. It was quite a lively race.
なんかバケットがすごい。
Bertie did a great job. He was really cool.
富士の時勝った時涙全然出なかったんですけど。
He's getting very emotional because it was so good. It was really cool. Very cool.
本当嬉しいです。
Very cool.
まあ感動のですね、今監督からも地元で勝ってよかったなというコメントありましたけども。
そうですね。まあでもまだねチャンピオン取ってないから。
He's just basically blown away by winning this race.
余韻に浸ってまた次回のレースにはねチャンピオンシップをねしっかり取るために頑張りたいと思います。
まあチャンピオン獲得の暁にですね大滝の涙をですね流していただきましょう。そして監督この時点で前半戦で2勝目です。
そうですね。本当にドライバー2人チーム関係者の方がみんな頑張ってくれた結果で、まあいい車ができたのでね、いい走りで応えてくれて優勝できました。
まあ前半戦で2勝ということはちょっと見えたものもあるかもしれません。本当におめでとうございました。
はい、ありがとうございました。
以上です。
Yes, thank you. Deeply insightful. Thank you.
I'm really worried about their face masks. They're clearly not breathable enough. Bertrand Baguette looked like he was going to pass out at one point. Meanwhile, here are GT 300 race winners.
They've got their face mask game absolutely bang on here. That's a good race.
13番手からの逆転優勝、素晴らしい優勝でした。おめでとうございます。
はい、ありがとうございます。本当にこんなにうまくいくとは思わないぐらいレース展開がうまくいってとりあえずホッとしてます。
そしてモテギといえば去年悔しい思いがあっただけに喜びも非常に大きいと思うんですけれどもいかがでしょうか。
やっぱりこの車とそのブリヂストンタイヤのパッケージがとてもモテギに合っているので本当にそれを生かせてよかったです。
素晴らしい勝利でした。おめでとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
さあそして菅波選手自身スーパー GT 初優勝です。おめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。
いかがでしょうか今のお気持ちは。
本当に去年から結構勝てそうで勝てないレースも多かったですし、今年に入っても速さあってもちょっと勝てないレースとかもあったので、その分今初優勝できて本当にすごく嬉しいです。
改めておめでとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
そして監督、本当に最後までハラハラする展開でしたけれどもいかがでしたでしょうか。
まあでもドライバー支持してたんで大丈夫だと思うし、スタッフもねいい車に仕上げてくれたし、何よりもタイヤがね、ブリヂストンさんが素晴らしいタイヤを用意してくれたんで、勝ちにつながったんだと思います。
おめでとうございました。改めて第4戦本当におめでとうございました。以上です。
He was British F3. He was racing. Yeah, he was racing in the same kind of series, so British F3 at the time, and was obviously racing that car last year and has retired back to a team manager role.
Oh yeah, let's have a look at some of the great action during the race. Well, there was a lot of that. Kahin NSX trying to go around the outside of the Zenith Tsurumo. I mean, this race really had it all, didn't it, from the beginning? I mean, that was 8 laps in there with banging wheels, and then it just carried on from there, really.
Yeah, the nature of the circuit leads into really tight racing and some great overtaking manoeuvres. Of this was not one of them. You know, that could have been huge, Sam. If that had come into the door, that would have been really bad. But the first safety car led to that concertina crash of the BMW.
Then a bunch of those guys picked up punctures as well, so they all had to pit and it ruined their races. So the driver of that Lamborghini is not going to be popular tonight on the Muka Railway back to Tokyo. And then the pit stop cycle really came into it, and the Leon Mercedes got its advantage. Realise GTR got into the back of the Arta NSX. Mardenborough not going to be happy with that one. Had a very short race here at Motegi. And I know he loves this circuit because it creates back action like this, and he loves all of that.
Question is, Sam, are we going to get to see right at the end of this race highlight little reel? Look at that, that was decisive, wasn't it, for the race lead in GT3? And are we going to get to see the drag race across the line between the GTRs?
Yeah, and I hope we do, because otherwise we're going to be looking at that. Cassidy was really lucky not to get collected by that GT300 car, wasn't he?
Yeah,
and that
very lucky.
Safety car. Yeah, and that brought out the second safety car. I'd love to hear the conversation between Cassidy and his teammate. It does look like Shibata ran out of fuel, which is really bad luck for the 360 team. But this is what we need to see now. Oh no, we're not going to see it. That dead heat.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed. Is this it coming up in the background?
No, no. That's a shame. There was a dead heat across the line. But anyway, let's have a look at some figures and numbers. That is the provisional result. The Kahin NSX. Suzuka and Bertrand Baguette wins the race from the GR Supra in second position. Red Bull Mugen Honda is third. The Wacos 4CR GR Supra is fourth position. Fifth was the Raybrig NSX. Sixth, the Keeper Tom's GR Supra. Seventh, the Barff's Motul GTR. Then the Motul Ortec GTR in eighth position. The Denso car was eighth. There's the cars that didn't do so well. The Calsonic GTR, like Sasaki and Hiramine, they had trouble. In GT300 though, the Leon Pyramid AMG won the race. Kamui and Tsuganumi took it. The J-Lock Lamborghini was unexpected second, followed by the Subaru. The K-Tunes RCF GT3 was fourth. The Hitotsuyama Audi was fifth. The JP Oliveira in that Nissan came home sixth. JK Nitano's GTR in fourth, seventh. The Arta NSX was 8th, 9th, the Hot Porsche, and Hatsune Miku gets points in 10th position. The Kenwood Modulo GT3, Michigami and Parsons 11th. And there's the rest of the top 20. Frias, number 31 in 16th, should probably be a bit disappointed with that. Kokisaga and Nakayama looked really good for it for this year and didn't get the result they would have hoped for. Nor did the Aston Martin, down in 19th. Don't know where they lost time, actually. We know exactly where the Run Up Sports GTR lost time, though, on the side of the track. That's side of the finisher. But there is your championship points. Bertrand Baguette and Tsukakoshi take the championship lead with 43 points from Sekiguchi. Sasha Fenestra still stuck on 41. They didn't have a great race. Hirakawa and Cassidy, 38, still in the title hunt. Yamamoto Makino, 32. Oshima and Tsuboi also on 32. Tachikara Ishiura, 28. Matsuda and Quintarelli there in 17th. The race, or the leaders in GT300 haven't changed, Hironaka and Yasuda, but they are tied on points now with the Leon AMG Mercedes for the lead in GT300. Just ahead of the Subaru in third, and Kato and Yanagida in the Lotus, who didn't really feature in this race, in fourth, and down in fifth position and possibly out of the hunt is everybody else. Well, they're doing their fingers up. Stay tuned with us for the podiums, which are coming up. And lots of people enjoying the music. There is no free pizza. I don't know whose idea that is. I might have pizza for dinner. RJ O'Connell, thanks to you for all of your help. That was the first career win for Suganumi in just his 7th race. 5th career win for Gamu, and the first for Kurosawa as team manager. The 4th career win for Tsukakoshi, passing Kanishi in terms of record, and the 3rd career win for Bertrand Baguette. And what brilliant music we had. Probably available in all good Japanese music stores in Mito Prefecture.
So, Sam, dig into your mind palace. Can you remember Haruki Kurosawa's nickname when he did British F3?
No, because I'm not 87 years old.
I'm 47. He got car sick on a regular basis, sort of suffered from motion sickness, and of course racing in England, quickly picked up the nickname Puki Haruki.
You need to remind him of that. That's a good one. Well, the podium is coming up.
Yeah, he's now successful team manager, so sensible team manager hat on, Haruki, no longer Puki Haruki.
Why don't you have one of those hats, Rob? Oh, yeah, it has the word sensible in it.
There we go. There we go. But wow, what a race. And it has its mixed star championship up. Looking at the championship, Bertrand Baguette and his teammate have jumped up from 5th to being the lead of the championship. So, yeah, all to play for. Literally all to play for still. And lucky that that rain stayed away, Sam. It would have mixed it up even further.
Yeah, it's... Well, the rain didn't come away. Didn't want to turn up. Oh, we didn't see that Lexus die, did we, on the final lap? That's the Thai Lexus Miato car being recovered.
Yeah, didn't see that die, and also didn't see where the Aston Martin dropped back from, because they were solidly sort of P4, P5 for such a long time and then disappeared backwards.
Yeah, so it must have had a spin or an off at the end of the race, or maybe has some issue. Well, there's the podium. Where are the people to go on it with their strange peanut-shaped logos? I thought that was just a Suzuka thing, but it seems to be a season thing now. So we're going to see the GT300 drivers first, I think. I guess. There they are. Found their way. Single flag strategy. Branded face masks, as we saw. That's great. Very remote podium announcer. Don't know who's gone, but he's not there, as he normally is. Well, single trophy for them to share.
There he is. Podium announcer, matching face mask and spectacles. Very good.
Yeah.
Lamborghini on the podium. We haven't said that for a long time in Super GT, Sam.
Yeah, they're going to stop complaining about cars like this, the Subaru, as they call the GT400, as the drivers go in front of the podium.
They're shaking hands. They're shaking hands. That's so pre-March.
I know. It did grate slightly. I wasn't going to mention it, but there you go. Here we go. Trophies with big bases, I think, is if I remember well for Motegi. There you go. Massive base on quite a nice trophy. I think there's too much base and not enough trophy, but the trophy is rather lovely. Winners, 1 trophy to share between each 2 drivers, and no scratch card. but J-Lock double flagging for J-Lock, so 4 flags in total. Just AMG flags, no flags for the Subaru drivers. It's unusual. 3 different tyre manufacturers on the podium as well. A win for Dunlop, a win for Bridgestone, 2nd place for Yokohama, and 3rd place for Dunlop. Now they're going to pick up their...
is this a voucher for some sort of peanut?
I don't think it is a peanut. I don't really know what that is. Answers on the chat, please. Does anyone know what that is? Anybody who's watching at home, could you let us know what on earth that is? I've tried to find out, but I haven't succeeded.
A voucher for some sort of nut-based snack for the trip home would be my my preference.
I quite enjoy the journey back. You get to go past the Steam Train Museum.
And what's not to love about a steam train museum?
Yeah,
said the old man.
Motegi has a regular steam train service, which you can catch. I have done. And it's a rather lovely place to visit. On the Muka Railway, and then you take the JR line, change onto the Shinkansen, and you're back into Tokyo. Time for tea. Neat marks on the podium for the trophy, and neatly replaced by the drivers of the Leon team. Now, are they going to take their trophies with them after the podium ceremony? We've seen a few drivers not take the trophies, which I think is terribly rude.
My OCD is very pleased with matching hats, matching race suits, matching boots. Oh no, I've said matching boots. P2, 1 blue pair, 1 silver pair, ruined. I can no longer look at the GT300 podium, I'm afraid, but there we have our winners.
That was the, I was going to say, if they haven't gone for the Alex Verts deliberately different, but no, that is just not matching boots. Different foot sponsors, I guess. Well, there you go. 3rd place trophy. Again, the base is too big for the trophy, but it's still a very nice trophy. And the Autobacks trophy there, as ever.
Due to the size of the base, it's made it quite unstable to hold as well. As you say, the ratio of base to trophy is inappropriate completely.
Neat little logos on the bottom of the trophy. They thought about that. They know the driver's going to lift them up, so you have the little branding at the bottom. Twin Ring Motegi, just so you know where you are. Huey Irving suggests it's a Yuzu. He thinks it's a Yuzu of some description on the green card of mystery.
I honestly prefer shopping voucher.
Well, it could be a Yuzu shop.
5,000 yen to spend in a Yuzu shop of your choice. Enjoy.
They've abandoned most of their trophies. Somebody took the Autobacks trophy. There is the hotel in Motegi. On the collectionables over there as well. Lovely old cars machine there. Then there's a shed that you're not allowed to look in that's full of really secret cars, which is more interesting. As we take nice views across Twin Ring Motegi to await the tidying and rebuilding of the podium for the GT500 drivers. Love a view of that hotel.
It still seems strange, Sam, doesn't it? The silence in between the podiums. Normally, there's so much atmosphere in Super GT. These races traditionally attracting, even in a rural area like this, tens of thousands of on-the-day spectators and the synchronized flagging at the race start. It's just eerily quiet without them.
Wales tastes great. I'm not sure they do. Says it's the town mascot of Motegi. I'm not necessarily sure that's correct. Other people are suggesting it's the Yuzu fruit, and Yuzumo is the name of the mascot. I think it's a Yuzu fruit. There's the Gainer Tanax GTR being recovered, which is interesting because they finished the race.
Yeah, they finished.
Sure
they finished P. They finished P7.
So maybe they ran out of fuel on the way back to the flag. The way back to the after the race, yeah.
Will that have connotations for post-race scrutineering? Because to obtain a fuel sample, they're going to need to be able to get some fuel out of there. And for some championships, it's a minimum amount, Sam. So one to watch for the chat later.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's the scratch card. The fuel sample that take in Super GT will be to ensure that you're using the same fuel that is for sale at the race circuit. You have to use the fuel from the race circuit pumps. You cannot use special fuel for these cars. So whatever's available at the track is the fuel you must use in the car. Some circuits like Motegi, I think, have 2 or 3 options, but there you go. Not sure which one, the whatever was in the Honda pump at a Honda-owned circuit worked well in the Keihin NSX. And they got their, oh, he's just pointing out, Bertie, look, we've got 500,000 yen. That'll get us back to Tokyo on the train. Maybe we can buy vouchers to go into the Steam Train Museum on the way home.
Oh, I really hope there's some socially acceptable elbow bumps here or a fist pump. All that GT300 handshake made me reach for my hand sanitizer.
It really did, yeah. But no, it's all quite organised here. I don't think there's going to be any congrats. I think they've been told off. Pierre Kitagawa there announcing the podium. Pierre, quite an unusual name for a Japanese person, but there you go. I also know a Japanese person called Alan.
What's wrong with that?
It's not very Japanese. Nothing wrong with it. His dad was a fan of Alain Prost, so he's now. There is the same trophy. I hope it's not the same trophy. Otherwise, it would have to be sanitised. Double flagging, Keihin Real and the Honda flags. Honda winning on their own circuits. That's good. That Keihin car could well end up in the Honda collection in a few years' time. Single flags, Honda flags for the Red Bull team. And the Yuzu. Did they get free Yuzu? I don't know. It's just a congratulatory Yuzu thingy.
Oh, Bertrand Baguette looked down at his scratch card and he's like, I need to pick it up, but I have no hands.
Yeah.
500,000 yen, yeah. Sam, what does that translate to?
If only I could work out what it was about 371,485 Kyrgyzstani soms or 353,000 Malawian kwachas, or just shy of 50,000 Tajikistani somonis, or really, I'm quite surprised by this, only 4,700 Panamanian Balboas.
Oh, the Panamanian Balboa market's gone down the market, gone down the pan and the currency markets lately. So
yeah,
here we go. 500,000 yen, everybody. It's a lot of money.
I wonder what they are in the Coventrynian aid currency. An interesting currency, usually spent on car cleaning products, many of which you can buy at Autobags, sponsor of the Super GT Championship. But there's your 500,000 yen, which you can be using for all sorts of things, but I suspect will be used for some socialising, socially distanced socialising by the mechanics on the journey home. 2 SUGR flags there on second position. Now they all do the podium photograph. Bit of weight to it, that trophy, with that big base on as well. Bertie's gone for the light one. I wonder how many other Belgians have been on the podium in Super GT.
I was just thinking, I wonder how many other Belgians have won LMP2 at Le Mans. So, yeah, great minds and all that. But, yeah, there can't be many, can there?
No, but that number might change in a week's time. So, it feels strange that we're sitting here in September. I had to check it was September, and we're talking about Le Mans coming up.
Yeah.
No Super GT, no Super Formula next week as a result of that. Bit surprised that you got British GT the same weekend as Le Mans, but there you go. That's the nature of the schedules in 2020. And of course, you will be able to watch British GT live on this channel. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Someone's calculated how many Vietnamese dong it is. That's a very large number. And, oh, they've just abandoned them on the podium. Don't forget your scratch card, Bertie. Oh, we forgot it. Well, that has been a wonderful podium, but the next race for Super GT live here on the race is on October the 4th. And I hope you all join us for what is sure to be another 300-ish kilometres of absolutely bonkers action at Fuji Speedway. Thanks for joining us. We will have a little bit more chat, and then we'll see you in Fuji Speedway. It's been a wonderful time here at Fuji Speedway. So I've been Sam Collins, that's been Rob Barff, and this has been a wonderful, wonderful race. Very much.